boys and girls, children of all ages. It's Tuesday here on ScoreOnAir.com, and we don't know what it is.
What you gonna do, brother?
We can't really explain it. We can't really tell you what it is.
Watch it. He looks fired up here. This is going to be fun to watch.
All we know, it's loganity.
Oh, my God!
And it starts now.
Come on!
Welcome to another episode of Loganity. It's another Off the Wall Tuesday, and because I am the leader of Off the Wall, they stick me in here from 4 to 6 for some reason, and we talk all things wrestling as only we can. Before we go any further, I have to, of course, introduce the guys, because we're all back together. The gate's all home.
The band's back together?
Look, hey, isn't there some copyright on that somewhere? Oh, look, we don't want to get in trouble. Anyway, Jason, my friend, how are you?
I am great, Logan. How are you?
Oh, you ready for another episode of Loganity?
Always ready, my
And
friend.
of course, the man who makes his illustrious return after putting over a deer last
I know.
week.
Hey, listen, I would not put the deer over for anything, guys. I didn't take the deer out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
did you drop the leg
I
on it,
dropped
brother?
the leg, brother.
Yeah, because that's the way that works for me.
And your car came out looking like Kenny Omega on Saturday
Oh.
night.
Omega, the
Oh,
car is still in it.
Oh, that's a reference. Now, tell me, did it sell like Shawn Michaels in SummerSlam 2005?
Listen, all I remember is
Or...
Yes.
I'm in no position to confirm nor deny said allegations.
It's great to have you back, Salt and Style, sitting in for the hot hand this week. Our main man, James the Hot Hand, is out this week. Sitting in for him, the living legend, the man I call out every week on every show I do besides Loganity, Hambino. He runs this whole thing.
Hambino.
Hambino,
I
how
love
are you,
it.
friend? How are you?
I am pretty good. I'm excited to actually see this show and be a part of it, and this is going to be fun.
Oh,
Yes, that's what we like to hear.
It's a 2-hour train wreck. And speaking
Sounds
of,
about right.
And watch this transition. And speaking of 2-hour train wrecks, how's that for a transition, boys?
Transition right there.
Oh, I got
That's
that
too
part
sweet.
down. All right. Well, the first thing first, actually, we'll get to SmackDown, that 2-hour train wreck, because if you thought the show was hard to watch live, you wait till the pre-taped in England. But we'll get there. The first things first, we got to talk about Randy Orton. Randy Orton, that's right. He's only been with the company since he was 2. The son of Cowboy Bob, by the way.
That's Randall Keith.
Yeah, Randall Keith, the son of Cowboy Bob. Signed a new 5-year extension with WWE. What do you think on that one? Jason, I'll kick with you.
Honestly, I am really excited. I'm a super huge supporter of Randy Orton. He's an awful face. We'll just get that out there.
Certainly.
But I'll be honest, I was too. But I have a special bond with Randy. I was his kayfabe cousin back in my day in my 20s.
Really?
And so I love Randy Orton. And to see RKO's out of nowhere for the next 5 years guaranteed, I am happy about it.
Well, by George, we have to at some point after the show or something, or maybe
we
during
have to talk about that.
yeah, I was gonna say
I got all kinds of stuff.
yeah, during the Christmas episode or something, because you're holding out on us here, sort of like Randy Orton.
Right?
But I thought it. I think that's great. But does he really have 5 more years in the tank at his top
Randy
level?
Orton?
I mean, does he have 5 more years? Now, granted, he works a part-time schedule these days. At least when I say part-time, I mean like Undertaker 2010, kind of that SummerSlam to WrestleMania thing. That's right. Didn't take long for a Taker reference. But it's my show. But anywho, yeah, I like it because look, he is. I mean, if you could, as Ric Flair says, if you could build a sports entertainer from the ground up, you'd get Randy Orton. You really would. So I like it.
In my opinion, Orton's nowhere near done. And another 5. How old is he? Do we know the age of Orton?
Oh,
you see
I
that?
see what you did there.
He can't
Early
be anymore.
30s.
Oh.
Mid-30s.
Yeah,
That's mid-30s.
I'll tell you what, he's really formed his own legacy, hasn't he?
Oh, indeed.
Oh.
To be able to watch his
Oh.
evolution as a
Oh,
superstar.
my.
Oh,
boy.
We can carry on.
It's amazing how he's a legend and he was once the legend killer. It really,
that's
it
my
really is
favorite
amazing.
persona.
All right.
I think I still have that T-shirt.
But Styles, what do you think? What do you think of the fact that we got 5 more years of RKOs conveniently out of nowhere,
Listen,
unless you're in the arena?
When I hear Randy Orton's theme song, I just know someone's getting an RKO, whether he wins, loses, draws, triple count out. There's an RKO coming. I'm always happy to see that. That's good news.
Absolutely. And speaking of Randy Orton, again, here's another genius transition. He challenged John Cena. That's right, the only other 16-time, everyone's most favorite and every now and again controversial part-timer, to a WrestleMania challenge. And when this was recently brought up to one John Boy Cena, Mr. All Go No Quit, playing with fire out in theaters now, when it was brought up to him by Sports Illustrated, he said, I didn't know about the challenge. But he did say this. He did say he hasn't missed a WrestleMania since he came in at WrestleMania 19, and John Cena said he doesn't intend to miss a WrestleMania for decades to come.
Wow.
So my question to you, and I'll lead it off, Jason, do you believe that John Cena is going to be around WrestleMania in a part-time role for decades?
I kind of do, because John Cena doesn't disappear anywhere. Like we've said before on the show, he always kind of pushes WWE a little bit. It's not like all day, every day, in every interview, but when there's a point to mention something good that WWE's doing, he's going to say it. And so, yeah, he's not going to miss. He got, that 5-minute thing with The Undertaker just to be on WrestleMania last year? He's going to do whatever it takes to be on that card, because at the end of the day, he's a fan.
Right, where John Cena was victim number 24, but who's counting?
Right.
24 and 2, still the greatest record in WrestleMania history. I just want to point that out. Styles, what do you think of John Cena saying he's not going to miss a WrestleMania for decades to come? Do you believe him? Will Mr. All Go No Quit never give up? Time to go to work. Be at work for decades to come in some form.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Even The Rock was loyal when he first left. We've seen The Rock plenty of times. Plenty when he first left. But look at his face. He doesn't like that. Even The Rock was first loyal when he left. But here's the thing, guys. Cena is Cena. I'm not a big Cena guy. If you're going to force feed us, I guess he can come back. It's not really necessarily one of the big things I'm looking forward to.
So, I've backed off that forced Cena thing, because that's not his fault. And we did see a product decline when he left the ring full time. There was something missing for a while. Because John Cena can go when they want him to.
And when he wants to.
I've never seen a point where he doesn't, but he's held back by management because they put the matches together.
I agree.
Well, we didn't do a hard cam promo last week, so it's time to do one this week.
Here we go.
Hard cam
Look,
promo.
if for some reason you're like Styles and you're not a John Cena guy, there is nobody else that has held that company down for 15 years. 15 big, long years. He was there day in, day out. If they had a show in Saskatchewan, he worked it.
Oh, by the
He
gods.
worked it. If they had a show in Newark, Ohio, he was there. He worked every civic center you can possibly think of. So to me, if you're not a John Cena guy, look, I know for a long time he was force-fed. He was force-fed and he was propped up, no doubt about that. But he went out and he earned that right by always being there. Always. By hook or by crook, John Cena, you couldn't. Look, we really can't see him now, but you can see him all the
Still
time.
can't see him right now.
Because Styles, I don't understand fans like
Not
you're
a
feeling
Cena
because
guy.
look, when you say The Rock and loyalty, that's like peanut butter and bowling shoes. It doesn't go together. It doesn't go together because let me tell you, The Rock has shown no loyalty to the WWE because he once went 7 years without a single in-ring appearance. When John Cena starts to eclipse that record, that's when I go, boy, he really did sell out. So 7 years, and all we got was a via satellite package. That's not the case with John Cena.
That is true.
John Cena has wrestled matches in 2019, back in January. He did the Raw reunion. So he did a full-fledged month house show tour this year.
I'm not a Cena guy.
Well, see, look.
I'm not a Cena.
Well,
You love Joey Ryan matches. Who am I to judge? I don't.
no, you mean loathe. You mean loathe. Love. Very, very simple. All right. But yes, John
see where
Cena,
you can
please,
get
thank
misconstrued.
you for continuing to be a part of the WWE and not being a big sellout like a certain Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Anywho, speaking of Johnsons, let's move on to SmackDown. Let's move on to 2 hours train wreck. Let's talk about it. Baron Corbin, King Corbin as they want me to call him, but I'm not going to cooperate with that because the only king in the ring that matters is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Can't make me.
You really can't, pal. He cut a promo on Roman Reigns that I thought was okay until it hit an absolute. Where's Mick Foley's theme when you need it? Because as soon as he started to do the whole dog thing, Because for a while he cuts a good promo on Roman. He gives him credit for beating leukemia and being the top guy and being kind of the current Cena, for all lack of a better term. And he props that up, and I thought, are they in a feud or is this? Are they drinking buddies? So he props it up, but then he does this weird. He says that Roman Reigns' testicles has shriveled up into marbles, which I can get behind a good testicle reference. Wasn't really a good one.
Necessarily a ball guy. I'm just not that guy.
Wasn't really a good one, but at least it's something edgy for today. But then we went way off the tracks, like
those were 2 words you weren't supposed to say in a sentence.
We went way off the tracks like Charlie Sheen in rehab. When he started saying the bark has now turned into a chihuahua, then they show this weird graphic of Roman Reigns' dog thing barking like a chihuahua. And I thought, God, this is bad. Why do I sit here and watch this? Why? Why? It's like watching someone wrestle with their hands in their pockets. More on that later. But yeah, I didn't like it. Jason, what'd you think?
I'm right there with you. I was like, where is this going? When he started with all the respect and the leukemia, and
that was weird. That was
and
really
then
weird.
all of a sudden, there wasn't even a segue. It was just like, boom, I'm going to hit the rails, and I'm just going to talk a whole bunch of smack about you that really is not coherent. And I feel like they're pigeonholing Corbin with these testicle jokes ever since Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Becky Lynch made fun of him. Now all of a sudden he's doing jokes again. What's going on? Like, I'd rather see King Corbin has progressively gotten better, but I would much rather see him more serious than all these lame jokes. It fits the Corbin character as a core is being more serious.
But that being said,
let's
what
all
is the
remember.
Corbin character?
Well, he was the lone wolf
that was
before.
a really
that was great.
Good gimmick
yeah.
at that time. I really dug that gimmick. Once he did the haircut thing, I was flabbergasted.
See, I didn't mind Corbin up until this King thing because I thought they were doing it effectively with even retiring Kurt Angle. Look, nobody wanted to see that match, and that's why it was good. That's why it worked.
I agree. I agree tenfold.
So, Styles, what did you see the promo? What did you think of?
I didn't necessarily see the promo. I got a quick snippet of the promo because I can't go too long with watching the.
I don't blame you.
The B show and the A show, they fluctuate. But I do have good news on SmackDown and Raw when we get to there.
It's one B and one B.
Corbin's promos are good heel promos. Bottom line, it doesn't matter if you've seen one. I'm not necessarily saying you've seen them all, but with Corbin, he's a heel. He knows how to be a heel. He knows how to make you hate him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's move it along here. The New Day. That's right. The New Day.
New Day.
The New Day has kind of had their day. Now it's kind of an old day, but. Oh, well. They became your 7-time W.
Hold on.
W.
You have to do the waist. There's a waist gyration. Hey, is the waist gyration happening?
It's happening.
Zoom in on my waist.
Don't zoom in.
How do we do it? W. W. E. Hey, wait a minute.
Anywho.
What is going on?
Look, in the words of Happy Gilmore, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Anyway.
She also said that I'm on a roll.
Stop it. PG. Anyway. Let's try to get this on the tracks.
A bottle of water
they became 7-time champs, and they beat the Revival. And I got to tell you, I like it because as stale as the New Day are, and believe me, they're like a saltine cracker, been hanging out for a month. But they're the most over tag team on the SmackDown roster still by far because it's the only tag team.
And that's very surprising. That is very surprising.
They don't push anybody else.
It's the only one that Vince has put any work into because keep in mind, the New Day is Vince's baby. He wanted them to be preachers and prophets.
Oh, that was sweet. Thank you, Vince.
That was the OG idea. So see, even when you want to be critical of Vince McMahon, a good idea can come from a bad one. So,
that's true.
So, yeah, I like it, again, because they are the most over tag team, and I believe that either your best athletes or your most over athletes should be your champion, because as much as we want to believe the Revival is top guys, no flips, just fists, they're not top guys.
They don't move the needle like the New Day.
They don't. They look
They are top guys, but they just don't.
Depends on your flavor of wrestling.
You can't.
Look, when it comes to the kind of short, pudgy, bald, badassery thing, Arn Anderson has wrote the book on that, and that's that. If you're not Arn Anderson, I'm not
Hard to buy into your diet.
Yeah, look, I'm not into that. I'm just not. So I liked it. Styles, what do you think of it?
I mean, I'm down with the New Day, man. I love it, man. I'm glad. I am happy. And you know another thing that I really love about the New Day? Even though I really didn't necessarily say the first thing, but whatever.
That's all
it's
right.
loganity.
Yeah.
I love the simple fact that with the New Day, it's always gonna be a celebration when they win. You know, it's gonna like it means something to them when they win something. Rather than a typical fall to your knees, clinch the belt, cry a little bit, and walk out.
The boyhood dream has come true.
That hasn't been done well since Kurt Angle did it, and Shawn Michaels was great, but Kurt Angle was the last one to do that
you are
well.
so right.
Yeah, he for sure.
That's after the
He
beat
might
and
have been
cry.
better than Shawn Michaels when Shawn Michaels did it, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
but that's a story for another
he
day.
was
Yeah, I'm
sobbing.
not mad at it, man.
He was sobbing like his girl just left him. Anyway.
Oh, we got a girl just left you story to talk about later on today.
oh,
my
God.
gods. Do we have
We'll talk about it. That's a preview.
Yeah.
Let's not get
The
too
snippet.
wrong yet. Let's not get
Put
too
your
wrong
shirt
yet.
down a little, yeah.
Yeah, well, or take it off,
Or
whatever.
take it- whatever floats
But
your boat.
anyway, Seth Rollins had an open challenge. Or, excuse me, I'm thinking of Raw.
Like,
Never
wait, what's
mind.
going on?
Never mind.
Talk about
Fast forward the whole week.
You threw me wrong. It was your fault. Imperium, which is NXT's UK, that's their version of every stable you've ever seen. They beat down Heavy Machinery, who I love, by the way. I love Otis. If you don't love Otis, what's wrong with you?
No, I totally
dig
feel
Otis.
that.
If you don't love
I
Otis,
dig
what's
it.
wrong with you?
It's like the caterpillar.
If
That's
you
sweet.
don't love Otis, you need antidepressants. I believe that because he is absolutely the most fun, joyful wrestler on the roster.
He is.
He looks so happy to be there, and I don't like.
Those type of guys are just happy to be in the building and collect their
He's
check.
like he's like a somewhat intelligent blue collar Eugene. It's just great. It's just great. I love it. But yeah, they beat him down because the NXT UK is now in the NXT Invasion because. Again, we completely ignore the fact we're all working for the same company here.
It's kayfabe, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
So what, brother?
I want to go. Who's your check signed by? Vince K. McMahon. Who's your check? Same signature. I'll be damned.
Well, to be fair, at the end of the day, I'm sure Roger Goodell signs all the checks for where the NFL players get their money.
Sure.
That's a lot of writing.
That's a lot of writing.
Absolutely.
That's why he gets nothing done, because he's writing things.
Okay.
Oh, hey,
I shall not partake.
This is
I shall
Logan.
not partake.
Stop it now.
I'm sorry. They came out of nowhere.
Bring it in. Anywho, so we'll move. Look, yeah, it was fun. That was fine. I'm a little tired of the brawls already. I don't care about NXT UK. I barely watch them because there's just not enough time.
Who's their
There's not
champion?
enough
Like
time.
Pete?
Walter is amazing.
Okay.
He is an amazing.
I got some comments about
Oh my
Walter.
gosh.
I got some
He's
comments.
really mean though, but
He's a little pudgy,
so
though.
I think it's a,
He's a little pudgy.
A little punch bucket.
having the
Come
UK
on.
guys just kind of made rare for WWE to do something that makes sense. But why bring all your NXT guys from America when you got all these guys over here in NXT UK? Triple H can get in their ear and say, "Hey, go out there and do this for me, please. Thank you."
Thanks, because again, we're not all working for the same company.
Right, no,
That's fine. Yeah. Whatever. Cesaro and Shinsuke versus Ali and yes, Shorty,
They're still calling him Shorty G.
Shorty G.
They're gonna beat that dead horse.
Is that on his name thing
It's
when he
already
comes up
dead.
the ramp?
Oh, that's
Yeah, oh yeah,
It's
the
a-
thing.
Shorty
And
G
he's
is
got
on
a
the
G
thing.
right here in the center.
Oh no!
and,
Come on! Is he
it's-
embracing
It's all
this?
bad.
Is he embracing
and
this?
now he's got
Yes.
like these gold sleeve things. Did you see
what
that
was
this
that?
week? Looked like he raided Dustin Rhodes' wardrobe. Like it just.
Oh my days!
He said, "Oh my days."
Oh my days! But
That's going on a
what
t-shirt.
What was notable about that was the fact that once again Sami Zayn is trying to get Daniel Bryan to join into that weird partnership between him and Shinsuke. And so, what do you think, Jason? What do you think Daniel Bryan's going to do? Where does this story lead? Are we seeing the return of the Yes Movement?
I don't know. Before I was sure, but now Daniel Bryan might need help. I mean, if any of us watched enough of SmackDown, I know it's hard to get through everything, but
I got it there.
we'll talk about we'll talk. I'll fill in both
it
of
there,
those
got
here
it
in
there.
a minute.
Well,
But I just like having Sami Zayn involved with anything, and I think I said it before. There's more money in the Yes Movement after watching Zayn's conversations with Daniel Bryan. I think that's where the money really is. Those three guys, maybe even four, Cesaro, not necessarily forming a stable per se, but where they got the tag team title here, the U.S. title here, help Bryan get the, WWE title, or, I forget which one's on which show at this point, but...
It would be the Universal Championship because Brock
That's
Lesnar
right.
quits.
That's right, because Brock Lesnar
can
quit.
just quit and go wherever he pleases, thanks. Because as Paul Heyman remind you, he runs the...
He runs
Lesnar
everything.
Does as he pleases,
Just as he pleases because he's Brock Lesnar. Anywho, Sasha versus Nikki Cross with Bayley on commentary. I'll tell you what I didn't like about this real quick, boys. Bayley was so cringe on commentary, I had to put that sucker on mute. Oh my God, she looks like she's ready to speak to every manager in the country. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Look, because she is... I understand now why she's with Sasha Banks. By the way, does Bayley not have her own T-shirt to promote? Why is she wearing Sasha Banks T-shirt?
No, Bayley definitely has T-shirts, and they look really weird, but Bayley has T-shirts. I wouldn't wear one. I mean, my breasts would look weird in one. So I wouldn't wear one.
Hey.
I think they're all her face shirts. I don't think they made her a heel shirt.
They haven't made her. Look, then wear that Grand Slam champion
Something,
one thing.
yeah.
Come on now. I don't need you to wear.
She's supporting her best friend and rocking her merch.
That's my best friend.
All right, quickly. The Fiend randomly attacked Daniel Bryan during one of those conversations with Sami
Sweet.
Zayn, which I thought was kind of weird because that means Bray Wyatt's still doing the kind of, hey, I pick him. I pick him. Yes, I do.
Well, they already had that thing going. When he was going to be Wyatt family.
Yeah. So maybe that's where he always
Right.
he always says, let me see if I can do it here. The Fiend, he forgives, but he never forgets.
Never forget.
Maybe that's what he was thinking of. He's not, which means take or look out, brother. WrestleMania 31.
Watch
there
out.
was a thing. So yeah, I just did I like it? Yeah, I did, but I thought it was random. What'd you think, Jason?
I liked it, especially Sami Zayn's reaction. Just I'm out of here.
Hey, okay,
that
so
was
yeah,
great.
he literally went,
but
"I'll see you."
That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Daniel Bryan needs help at this point. If the Fiend is messing with Daniel Bryan, he needs somebody watching his back a little bit. He cannot take. I mean, look what happened to Seth Rollins trying to take on the Fiend by himself.
But I don't give Sami Zayn, Shinsuke, and Daniel Bryan a snowball's chance in hell when it comes to the Fiend the way we're booking him right now.
Oh, you're not
chance.
wrong, but I
So
mean,
what
if I'm in that situation, even though it's kayfabe or whatever,
I see what he did there with the corporate theme.
Yeah.
Just so no one else did. There's one thing I can do in wrestling. He said, "No chance. That's what you got." I know what that
I
is.
missed it. I was busy
I know what
talking.
that is.
Us cool guys over here doing cool guy stuff.
The cool guy came. That's fine.
All right. Well, you cut into my time.
I've added like a minute in, bro.
Hey, bro, it's too sweet in here right now, man.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Here we will come back. We'll talk about the rest of SmackDown. There ain't much more.
Unfortunately.
We're going to take our first break here on Loganity. Does that sound all right with you?
I love it. Yeah.
All right, let's take our first break and cool off. This is Loganity presented by Mojo Sports Gear.
How you doing?
The future of broadcasting is evolving, and you can be on the front line. Digital and traditional media jobs are being created daily, and the Columbus campus of the Ohio Media School can help you find your next career. With financial aid and job placement assistance available, the Columbus campus of the Ohio Media School provides instruction from industry-experienced veterans like me, ready to share their knowledge of the media broadcasting industry. Contact us today at 614-655-5250 or apply online at beonair.com. The Ohio Media School. Media broadcasting training starts here.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School. Do you have a passion for broadcasting, sports, or film production? The Ohio Media School is currently enrolling. For more information, visit beonair.com or give us a call at 614-655-5250. That's 614-655-5250.
Hello, I'm Logan Morris, and this is your Score on Air College Football Rundown. Ohio State returned to action this week and absolutely dominated Maryland, beating them by a final score of 73-14. This is the type of game that in previous years may have snuck up on the Buckeyes. Not in 2019. They have quieted every possible critic in a big way so far this season. Buckeye quarterback Justin Fields continued to be dynamic as he passed for 3 touchdowns and rushed for another. But it was the Buckeye rushing attack that ran roughshod over Maryland's defense. Buckeyes had 383 total rushing yards. Running back Master Teague had a big day, rushing for 111 yards and 18 carries. Maryland was simply no match for the Buckeyes from the outset of the game. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, Penn State's college football playoffs took a serious hit as they were beaten by Minnesota 31-26. The Golden Gophers were able to expose Penn State's secondary as Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan passed for 339 yards and 2 touchdowns. Golden Gopher wide receiver Rashad Bateman had a huge day with 7 receptions, 203 yards, and 1 touchdown. Defensively, the Gophers had Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford off his game. He threw 3 interceptions, with 2 of those being caught by star defensive back Antoine Winfield Jr. Clifford did throw for 349 yards, and wide receiver KJ Handler had 119 of those. But Penn State made too many mistakes. Suddenly, Minnesota has a path to the playoff. But the game of the week was what I like to call the Game of the Century Part 2 between Alabama and LSU. The Tigers got the better of the Tide here, beating them 46-41. Tigers quarterback Joe Burrow was simply unstoppable as he went 31-39, passing for 393 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tigers running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a big day as well, with 103 yards and 3 touchdowns on 20 carries. Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had a gutsy performance on a bad ankle, passing for 418 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had a lot of help from wide receiver Devontae Smith, who had 7 receptions for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the ground, Najee Harris did all he could as he rushed for 146 yards and 1 touchdown on 19 carries. With the next set of college football playoff rankings coming out tonight, it'll be interesting to see just how far Alabama falls. Catch me in full loganity mode this Thursday night on the Karen K Show from 6 to 8 right here on School on Air. I'll be back Thursday to discuss the due top 4 and get you ready for this weekend's action. I'm Logan Morris, and this has been your Score on Air College Football Rundown. And we're back here on another episode of Loganity, and it's Off the Wall Tuesday, and so far it has been more off the wall than Michael Jackson's first album. I can guarantee you that.
How you doing?
I can guarantee you that. Look, there's nothing wrong with that album, though. But he didn't find his creative flair until then. We'll talk about it later.
Speaking of flair, no.
No
segue,
We got
no
plenty
segue,
of time
no
for
segue,
Flair
no
later.
segue.
Let's quickly finish SmackDown here because I wish it was as quick as this. Tyson Fury, that's right, the Gypsy King is back, and I'm not happy about it. He came out and he cut this weird promo that was like, well, I got unfinished business here with Braun Strowman, and then he calls him out and goes, hey, you want to be a tag team?
Did Braun agree?
Yeah.
Oh, that is sweeter.
Yeah, he was like, I guess everybody be getting all 4 of these hands. Like,
Oh my gosh.
and I was like, on that note, is that a knife in my back, please? Oh my God. Jason, did you happen to see this promo? What'd you
I
think?
didn't. I tried to cram Raw
on you.
and
Good on
SmackDown
you.
all at the same time last night, which was really hard. This is about as far as I got in SmackDown.
that's
But
inappropriate.
after your description, I am shocked, appalled, and besmirched that
There is no system in that shot.
We've been
He's
hoodwinked.
been hoodwinked.
that Braun Strowman always has these blood feuds with people and wants to give these hands,
Right.
and then 3 weeks later, we are best friends now. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yes.
Thank you for being
This
a
is
friend.
this is WWE. This is not the schoolyard. It should not work that way.
The only person that he has not turned around and formed the tag team with or went into war with, I'm starting to believe that he's really in war with Nicholas. Like, I
that's
don't
it.
know if there's a
That's
beef
it.
or what, because Nicholas, we have heard nothing from Nick. We have nothing of Nicholas. There could actually be a real life war there.
It's been 2 years, and look, Nicholas better drop the leg.
Yeah, you know what, Nick? Nick, if you're listening, you need to drop the leg, buddy.
Don't put him over. You need the W more than Strowman does. Anywho. All right, finally to finish up SmackDown here, Baron Corbin defeated Roman Reigns. He made him bend the knee is Corbin's new slogan, and I'm like, well, you can bend it like Beckham all you want to, but I'm not going to buy into that T-shirt.
Bet him like Beckham.
And randomly, Ziggler and Rude came out and helped Corbin, and which I thought was weird because when did Ziggler and Rude have any issues with Roman? I mean, maybe that's some sort of episode of WWE Backstage I'm missing. There's just so much to watch nowadays. When did they have problems? Anyone know?
I don't know. It's Survivor Series month.
okay.
It's my only
So-
Put him in the
response
ring
to
with-
that. Just throw guys in there.
Put him in the ring with Roman Reigns, he's over.
It's that weird.
That's how Vince thinks. It's that simple.
Survivor Series is that weird time of month where we all decide to care about our brand supremacy, but you come December, pal, and we are getting it on.
Oh yeah.
You come December. Oh, you know, look.
Be at least one gimmick match at that pay per
Listen,
view.
friend.
Oh, one? No, no. All right. But
I said
yeah,
at least.
Look, I thought SmackDown was, frankly, it was a snore fest, if I'm being quite frank with you. 2 hours live it's nauseating. 2 hours pre-tape, knowing I could have just read the spoilers and half did it. I made myself wonder, why didn't I? But it's because I love all of you. Because I love you too, and I love all of you at home that tolerate all this with me. Thank you. All right, well, we've already taken a break, so I guess we're not going to take another break.
Let's just jump.
Hey, I have cerebral palsy, and I find that quite offensive. I do the best I can, thank you. Anyway, look, when it comes to the live reads, I'm not great at it. All I can tell you is this: Hambino.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's that Columbus Blue Jacket show you do? Tell me about it.
It's called CBJ Crosscheck.
What time?
It is Wednesdays from 2 to 4. We get you caught up on. It's weird not being on camera while doing this.
Yeah.
We catch you up on the last week of Columbus Blue Jacket action. We preview the upcoming week. We talked a little bit about the Metro Division, spotlight some players. We have fun in the penalty box where we throw in some random people in there. It's just a good time. So if you're a Blue Jackets fan, just like hockey in general, check out CBJ Crosscheck. It's on storeonair.com. Every Wednesday, 2 to 4, you can go back and watch some of the older shows. So yeah, CBJ Crosscheck. Wednesdays, 2 to 4. It's myself, Kyra Bailey, Dion the Nuance, Cody Larson, and Stock Tadlers will be taking over from me as producer very soon. So we got a good crew on that show.
Well, Big Cody Larson is a good friend of the show. I love him. And that was Hambino hyping CBA Crosscheck, a.k.a. the voice of God. The voice, because he went on camera. So he just
my days.
So he just
That's the thing.
Look, I think
You put somebody over right
you
there.
put him over. That was sweet.
Yeah, that's
Too sweet from across the room.
Sweet brother. Across the room. That's how it's done.
So, all right, so that was, I just want to make, all right, so I want to be clear. I'm not a huge wrestling guy anymore, but I am a product of the Attitude Era.
Oh, you got attitude.
And that was the Wolfpack thing there, right?
Oh, yeah, the old
Okay.
it's just too sweet.
Yeah, so yesterday I'm scrolling through Facebook. I actually thought I was watching your rundown, and I scrolled down, and you know how it gives you the videos that are recommended based on what you just watched? Well, I just saw when Sting came out for the first time to meet like the NWO.
Yes.
And he threw out the faux Sting.
Yes,
it brought me back.
Comes down in the ring right there. Oh, and Hogan looks like he just saw a raccoon at 3 a.m.
Yep.
Great. He's just baffled by it. Guys!
Yep.
What's going on?
The first wrestling I ever watched was Halloween Havoc 1996, I believe. It was Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan in the cage match.
Yes, sir.
And Steen came out and just held a bat up to Hogan, and I was hooked for years.
Battle of the Icons.
Yes, it was great. Okay, I'll throw it back to you guys. The voice of God is out.
That's all right.
Yes.
Before he throws it back out to us, guys, can I just say one thing? I find it really weird how, like, my suggestions are always like, find dating near you. Like, it's never like...
It's always...
I think Facebook is trying to tell you you're lonely, Scott.
Yes, dating near you.
It's always... Are you looking for hot Asian women?
Single MILFs.
Are you sitting naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos?
This is a PG show. Let's not give our fans that visual.
There is nothing non-PG about being naked per se. Anywho.
I think this one can go to PG-13. I'm just saying.
All right.
Glorious.
Well,
no F-bombs. No
F-bombs. That's me in the chair. That's me in the chair. Anyway, that's some real dynamite. And speaking of dynamite.
Yes.
I'm going to do something here I don't often do. I'm Loganity, and I don't make a habit of apologizing, and believe me when I tell you I'm not about to start making a habit of it. But before I give you guys the floor, I owe Cody Rhodes, whatever you want to call him, the American Nightmare, an apology. I mean that. He cut a promo this week on Dynamite that would have done his father proud. Because if you didn't watch last week at Loganity, and if you didn't, I'm upset with you. I said that Cody, because he allows people like the Young Bucks to choreograph the match and do those things, that maybe he doesn't deserve the last name that WWE owns the rights to. And looking back, that was a little far, and I do apologize. And then he completely stuck into my face when he cut a promo that the Dream, I thought the Dream was speaking through him. He cut that promo on Jericho, and he put his future ability to challenge for the AEW World Championship on the line, and I was floored. I was like SpongeBob at a boat school. I was absolutely
No way,
floored.
dude.
Yes.
No way he did the SpongeBob reference.
And so sincerely, I mean this because I don't apologize often and again. Not a time for me to start, but I do sincerely apologize for talking so badly about Cody Rhodes, whatever you want to call him, because I shouldn't have. Number one, it was too far anyway. He's a good guy. He comes from a great school. And then he completely proves that, look, he still has that passion. He still has that love and that emotion that I need as a wrestling fan, because that would have done your father proud. That I'm sure that did Ric Flair proud. It did all the old schoolers proud. And as an old school wrestling fan, it did me proud. So Cody and all you Cody fans, I sincerely, loganity sincerely apologizes to you. I was wrong. Jason, you have the floor. What'd you think of the promo?
Oh my God.
Here we go.
It took me 21 minutes to get past that point of AEW Dynamite. You know why? Because that was a 7-minute promo, and I watched it 3 times. The third time, I recorded it on my phone so I could watch it at work the next day.
It's all right.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's the best promo I've heard in decades. It did everything it was supposed to do. Everything made sense. He pulled things from Jericho's book and then threw it out to the airwaves, because Jericho talks about it being on Amazon for $3. So it was great for Cody to, throw it out there. Linesdale, he plugged it.
Absolutely.
Carney Succubus. That's the greatest insult I've ever heard, and I still don't understand what it means. But I can't wait to use it on somebody.
I haven't heard the word succubus in some of those early episodes of South Park way back in the day. So if anyone got that reference, thanks.
Just for a little bit, his promo made this Jerichoholic want to see Cody Rhodes take the title from Chris Jericho. And at the end of the day, the babyface, that is your job. And
I
he
agree.
performed phenomenally. And I've loved Cody Rhodes for a long time, but I met him one time in Giant Eagle, and I'll never forget it. He probably did, but that's fair. He meets a lot of people.
At Giant Eagle, I'm assuming he meets a lot of people.
I'm sure. As soon as you're getting that deli fresh,
Giant Eagle
as soon as you're getting that deli fresh carved up meat, whatever you prefer.
It was a signing. It was a scheduled signing.
Did you do some grocery shopping while you're there? Get a little Coca-Cola?
No, I stood there and waited patiently for Cody Rhodes.
Gotcha. Styles, did you see the promo?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it, my friend?
Before we go anywhere, I watched the full episode of AEW. Yes, I did. And you know what? I am really proud of myself. You know what? This was a good episode. I don't know if this is week 5 or 3 or 4, but what I will say, it took them to this moment for me to watch the beginning till the end. I loved it. I loved the promo. That promo was so realistic, and I like the fact that he pinpointed from in the book. He went in the book and said things like how Jericho worded Cody in the book. He called him a millennial. Like, wow, how could you? How could you, Jericho? But Jericho's such a big star. I mean, he can do anything, say anything.
Yeah.
But I like the promo. It was so realistic.
And entitled Millennial Snitch, he didn't say snitch.
He didn't say snitch.
He didn't
Nice.
say snitch.
Interesting.
But yeah, I loved it. And again, I do apologize because number one, I went a little too far last week with it anyway. But then, like I said, he completely shoved it up my keister, and just showed that, look, he on the right day with the right feud and the right program, he's a star, just like his father is, just like his brother in some ways is, and just I can't applaud that promo enough. It's the best promo I've seen. I mean, at least since the CM Punk days. At least since the CM Punk days. Alrighty, with that, now we're gonna crank her back up because look, I admitted I was wrong. Let's move on.
We're not gonna do this too long now, you know.
We're gonna crank it up, pal.
Well, you know.
Chris Jericho and his buddy Sammy from the Inner Circle, they defeated Hangman Page and Kenny Omega via pinfall. I put via pinfall because they seem to care about via pinfall in AEW and that sort of thing. That whole thing's gone out the window in WWE.
They don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, however you beat him, you beat him, pal.
Doesn't matter anymore.
What's a clean win? I have no idea.
Yeah, what?
A clean win.
Is that when they clean the ring when they're done?
Yeah,
no, I believe there's some form of cleaning involved.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely. It might be cleaning the clock. Just whatever it may be. Anywho, I thought it was a solid match. I liked that Jericho had Sammy do most of the work because, again, we talked about it some styles. Jericho's bump card's a little limited these days.
Yeah, it's
as far as what he's got left.
Yeah, I like the fact that they let the Sammy G guy get in there and bump around for a while.
Everywhere.
That was
for
sweet,
everybody.
man. I'm watching the match. I'm like, you know what? Bump around, buddy.
Yeah, bump around.
Bump
jump,
around.
Jump around or bump around. I'll tell you what, I'll bet Jericho was like, he's a real thrill seeker.
Yes.
And if you got that reference, I thank you.
Thrill seekers.
But
He's a
did
real
you,
thrill seeker.
did you guys see Jericho's promo, though?
Yes, it did.
Did you guys see the promo?
Yeah.
With
The video?
Yeah, the promo
That
video.
was ridiculous.
No, it was
And
so. You know what?
It was great.
Jericho.
It's Chris
the
Jericho.
woman
It's
is like
amazing.
the little name tag pops up on the woman. It's like Jericho's aunt's friend from church. Jericho. That is genius. What is her credibility though? But
It
that's the
doesn't
point.
matter.
Like, it doesn't
It's Chris Jericho.
right.
Who needs credibility?
Right.
We'll just say what we mean.
This is the same guy that came up with the Festival of Friendship.
Right.
Which was amazing.
So,
at the end of the
again,
promo-
Chris Jericho, as much as I can knock the AEW product, Chris Jericho is an absolute, I mean, he's a shining star. He's in the conversation for greatest of all time, depending on your qualifications. You can't say enough about how great Jericho has been
No, legitimately, you
for,
can't.
for nearly 30 years. For nearly 30 years. I look, as much as I'm hard on AEW, I know some of you are like, well, snicker, hiss. But look, I love Chris Jericho, and I'll never say a bad thing about his ability. I can disagree with angles, like I don't think it was needed for the popcorn thing and all that.
But can I just chime in? Right
Sure,
quick?
that's his loganity.
One
This
thing
is
that
kind
I
of your
did
job.
love, and I'm going to shut up about this Jericho thing because I don't want this guy to get too excited here to your right
Yeah.
or left. I don't know where he's
I'm
sitting
still
on the
holding my
screen.
tongue for,
Right.
for this match, so it's fine.
You know what? Before we even
Okay.
get to the match, my favorite part of the entire segment of the grandma from church, auntie's friend, whatever, is when he goes, Cody has so many things to worry about. Cody has meetings to do that day. Cody has to worry about flights and all this other thing. And all I have to do, which is the hardest thing, is figure out
Figure out where we're gonna get
The
the bubbly
punchline
from.
is so good he can't even say it.
We're trying to figure out where the line is,
figure
Tom.
out. All I gotta do is worry about
come on.
a little bit of the bubbly. I'm like, this guy didn't just go there.
This is why that's why I'm a Jerichoholic. That video package is the prime example of why the second I saw Chris Jericho, I said, that's the man. That's the man.
He has so
And
much
he's-
freedom in wrestling.
And he's a national treasure. That match was great. But one of sometimes it's the little things. Did anybody else see Chris Jericho go, "This is wrestling," and then a fan go, "This is wrestling," and then Jericho turns around, "This is wrestling." That's what I said. like what? Who does this? Only Chris Jericho.
I did see that, and I haven't seen better interaction with the crowd since Hogan was fighting with that grandmother back in '97 or '98, whatever it was.
I think that was someone's real grandma.
Yeah,
too.
I know,
don't
and
think it was a word.
I mean,
don't know.
and she was going to put down the Hulkster. No, Chris Jericho, absolutely. Look, you can't say enough about how great he is. And I mean, he knows how great he is. That's why he's able to do things like that and be confident with it. Because you're like, even if it falls flat, I'm Chris Jericho. What? Look, I'm Lionheart. So even if not everything I do turns to gold, it doesn't matter. I got enough gold for it to not make a difference. So what is going on?
Well, you
My
spoke
phone
of
didn't want to
gold.
stand anymore. Oh, and then I might add, there's only one wrestler that can Frankenstein or Chris Jericho, and that's Kenny Omega. Nobody else does.
Yeah, no one
He
else can
turns
do it.
everybody else gets that lion tamer real quick. But Kenny Omega is, at least in the last 5 years, the only guy I've seen do a Frankensteiner on Chris Jericho.
Again, that's where the bump card's kind of full.
Yeah,
so you gotta pick
neither
and
hither
choose
nor
that
there.
spot. You gotta pick and choose that spot, or you have 5-minute matches with John Cena at WrestleMania. It depends on who you are and how full your bump card is. So we'll move it along here to the private party.
Hey, man, what's up with their gimmick? What is that about?
It looks like it's.
This is
The
confusing.
introduction's good, you know.
I just like the
24
guy
ounce
that
of
cranberry
vodka,
and
cranberry is
vodka,
their
yeah, or-
weight from they hail from a place you need an invitation. I think they're just young.
Like, what is that, like a children's
And
party?
I think that kind of leads into like the
Baby
young
shower?
Is that a
bucks.
Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah,
or-
is that a baby shower? Because you need an invite to a baby shower. You don't just walk in. And there's actually vodka at most baby showers.
Well, I've walked in a few, but
Did you just say there's vodka in most baby showers?
yeah, there is. I
No
mean,
vodka at any baby showers
hey,
because a pregnant woman can't drink it.
yeah, that doesn't mean her friends
All right,
can.
all right,
That's like,
Do you really want to enter a pregnant woman?
That is not how that works.
Yeah,
Trust
I mean,
me, that's not how
I
that
let
works.
DJ do many baby
I have
showers.
a
There's
child.
plenty of vodka.
That's not how that works.
look, hey, how everyone celebrates their baby shower is their business, or their weekend home alone, whatever. That's their business. Don't be judging, guys.
I
Come
am
on.
done with this Logan guy. I'm
Come
so
on,
done
come
with
on,
him for the
come
moment.
on now. They defeated the Dark Order, and I've given my opinion on the Dark Order. Every time I see the Dark Order, it makes my screen go dark. So
smartest guy in the room, by the way.
Yes.
We got a peanut gallery.
We got a new hope over here.
Hey, I'm not going to say I'm not going home and watch The Mandalorian and crying a little bit.
Look,
I'll be right there with you, sir.
It just
Are you guys going to cry
excited.
together?
Probably.
Probably. I'm going to Facebook Live watch it at 3 in the
Watch
morning.
party just full of tears.
somebody call James. Good Lord.
That's a band name.
Somebody call James. Anyway, all right. Sean Spears, who's managed by Tully Blanchard, a member of the Four Horsemen, just so you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is, Styles.
It's like a loose hand. Okay, let's put it this way.
Again,
What are you doing?
It was
It's this.
You know what? The hand's
gotta be-
You have to have a ring on so it doesn't look so bad. You know what I mean?
It was another Happy Gilmore reference.
You gotta do it with conviction.
Yeah, I don't know.
4 horsemen with conviction, sir. He still can't do it.
What is that? What
Can you,
is that?
wait, hold on, let's see. For life, can you do that?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Check this out. For
for
life.
Yes.
Yeah, too sweet.
Oh, it looked like severe arthritis trying to grip a shake weight. It was,
Do you play lineman?
Wait.
it was ridiculous.
Were you a lineman? You have like lineman finger problems.
I'm sorry that rheumatoid arthritis is kicking in today's house. Thank you for stepping in and just piling through anyway. Look, I know between that deer and your arthritis.
Gotta fight the good fight, brother.
You're fighting as hard as you can. Oh, we're gonna line you up for a back surgery soon, brother.
I know that's right.
But anyway, Sean Spears, who again is managed by one of the Four Horsemen, Tully Blanchard, defeated Brandon Cutler via pinfall. Again, I want to emphasize pinfall because that's what they do
matters.
there. It matters there, and I'm trying to appreciate that. What'd you think of the match?
It was the weakest match on the show.
Wow.
Nothing against Sean Spears or Brandon Cutler per se. I've only seen Brandon Cutler twice, so I'm not going to rag on him. I heard his story. That's good enough for me for right now. His story is amazing,
miraculous.
and so I'm behind him 100%. The only thing I can say about Sean Spears, I don't know what it is, but he is missing something. There is something missing because his matches are decent. They're well put together. He's got a good moveset. He's got a good look. But he can't convey intensity at all. And I think it really hurts his matches. Like, he just kind of looked like when he did the spike pile driver. It was just kind of like...
That's supposed to be a big move, right?
It was like there was no intensity in
I'm
it.
coming down the slide.
Yeah, kind of.
Look at
Like, there's
me.
just no feeling in it. And he's really talented.
My opinion, Jay, is that he doesn't have it. Edge has it. When you think of it, I'm sorry, I always think of Edge, I always think of Austin The Rock. He doesn't have it. And this is what Vince McMahon seen in him when he was the guy that got super kicked by Shawn Michaels backstage. And when he was a perfect 10, the gimmick was over.
He just kicked Stan.
Right, he kicked Stan. There it is. Yeah, he kicked Stan.
I just kicked Stan.
So, you know, and my thing is he just doesn't have the it. He's not that guy you want to believe in. You want to watch him have a great match, but I understand what you're saying. He's missing something, and something is it.
I also think
that's
I
right.
also think that he's not necessarily with the right mouthpiece. As much as Tully Blanchard is a legend, there was one mouthpiece in the
the
Four
group.
Horsemen.
Understandable.
And his name, of course, was the
Charlotte Flair's dad.
Charlotte Flair's dad.
Flair's dad. That's what
16 times. And so I think that if you're going to stick him with a mouthpiece, and I know that Ric Flair is currently under contract to another company, but with the right price he wouldn't be, because he's a money guy. Look, I think you got to stick him with somebody that is a legend, but that is also a mouthpiece. Now you might ask, who am I thinking of? I'll tell you. Here's an odd one.
He's
for
in
you.
another company.
Here's an odd one for you, believe it or not. And he doesn't have the pedigree, but he's got all the verbal skill. I would maybe consider calling up the franchise Shane Douglas and seeing if he could help Ty Dillinger get over. Because look, say what you will about Shane Douglas from a personality standpoint, but from a verbal standpoint, he had it and probably still does. And I mean, absolutely. Because again, if you're looking to, because Ty Dillinger has, Sean Spears has all of it. He has it. But the only thing he can't do is convey emotion and sell you. Well, Shane Douglas could certainly sell. He could talk butts in the seats, absolutely. So again, I know that's an out there thought, and there's probably a ton of other legends or past stars from yesteryear that could fit, but that's just who I'm coming up with off the cuff here because this is Loganity and it's off the wall. And I just mentioned bringing back Shane Douglas into a prominent wrestling promotion in 2019.
In a sentence.
So you look, don't hate on the franchise, brother. Don't hate on the franchise. Look, you say what you will about him, but you can make an argument for about 2 years there. He was the best in the world. For about 2 years there.
Shane McMahon? No, Shane.
No, the franchise Shane Douglas.
The other Shane.
Oh,
the other
boy.
Shane.
The other Shane. Douglas. There it is.
But look, let's get to the big thing here.
Yes.
We got to talk about.
That's what she said. I got it in. Said it. I didn't care. I thought
Hey,
about it. I thought
hey,
about it
whatever
first.
she gets in, it's her business, and you don't want to know. Mind your business.
I debated.
Anyway,
We got that PG-13 permission, and we're all over it.
Anyway, look, the only thing we're not going to do is take advantage of the F word rule. That's it, folks.
Right,
That's
I know,
it.
right?
We're not going to take advantage of that. Anyway, let's get to the pay-per-view, the full gear, or maybe a grinded gears. Now, full disclosure, I'm not paying $50 to watch pay-per-view in 2019.
Wait a minute.
But
50 pay-per-views are $50?
But I have, but
Wow, poor kids.
I've
fine,
done
I
my
did
due
it.
diligence. But I've done my due diligence. Number one, he did order it. Your Jericho-holic did order it.
There it is. 1 out of 5.
Number two, I have watched I watched an hour-long highlight video. That's right, on YouTube, an hour-long highlight video. So I feel adequately prepared to talk about AEW Full Gear. And with that, let's do it. Santana and Ortiz defeated the Young Bucks, which featured a prominent cameo from Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, did you see that sunset? Oh,
I
my
did.
gosh.
Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah, that was beautiful. You know what? That was beautiful.
Assisted by the ropes and 2 other guys or not, it was amazing.
Never too old.
Yeah, the guy sits on the side of the ropes from the dive. How did you see the dive?
amazing,
That was sweet.
It's the Rock and Roll Express. You do whatever it takes to put him over.
Put him over, brother.
Oh, you are never too old to rock and roll. And I got to tell you, I loved it because it captured what loganity loves. And what do I love? Well, look at this.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia. Look at this T-shirt. It's nostalgia. And it was just too sweet. It was diabetic. We got Wilford Brimley somewhere saying diabetes after that.
Diabetes?
It was absolutely fantastic. Rock and Roll Express on a big time pay-per-view in 2019.
I know. Who'd
Check
thunk
your
it?
calendar.
Who'd thunk it?
Canadian Destroyers.
Robin Williams is somewhere going, what year is it? So I loved it. What do you think, Jason?
I thought it was a great match, and I think this is a really good example of when the Young Bucks trust the people across the ring from them. They're not as spot heavy and choreographed. It didn't feel choreographed like some of their other matches, like for instance Private Party. That was heavily choreographed. Well, after this match, maybe that's due to the limitations of Private Party and not the Young Bucks' reliance on choreographing their whole match. Maybe they're such control freaks when it comes to their matches. You guys are great, but we're going to do it this way and that's it because we want it to be spectacular.
Well, look, I'm a Ric Flair mark. So, I mean, I understand the value of choreographed matches because there's no denying that a lot in the 80s, because he was the traveling world champion and there was guys in there that couldn't lace his boots with him, that he had to make work. But it never looked so overly choreographed, where the Young Bucks do, and that's what, because the Young Bucks are arguably the most talented tag team in the world.
far.
I know I say a lot of negative things about the Bucks, and I'm going to continue, but it's not from a lack of talent. It's from a lack of, again, this is where I'm old school, and I'm like, what? Call this in the ring. Have a couple of big spots planned out.
And that's what I felt about this match.
Yeah,
There wasn't as much.
Still play nicely off the top of their heads in 2019.
So I was pleasantly surprised. I'll tell you another thing I was pleasantly surprised by. The Young Bucks taking the L. Way to try to get the inner circle over, get Santana and Ortiz, who I'm just going to keep calling LAX because I don't like that whole...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to get on board with the proud and powerful, but I want a little bit more behind that. Like, why are you proud and powerful? Like,
Why
so
exactly?
you're from New York now, apparently, and you're proud and powerful, but I'm not sure why.
Like you just,
I would like to know why.
You just spent the last 3 years with a cockroach of a company known as Impact Wrestling.
Ouch.
So exactly how are you proud and powerful? And no offense to Impact Wrestling, but they just don't go away.
Right back to the Canadian Destroyer. Did anyone else love how Santana took that thing?
Oh,
I thought it was a little bit of floppage. I thought it was a little bit of floppage there. You know what I mean? It was a little bit of floppage. I didn't like that.
I thought he sold that like Billy Mays in an OxyClean ad.
That's
like when Rock takes the stunner, the handstand.
Yeah.
Hey, that
that works with the Rock. That works with the Rock. That works with the Rock.
After
That was
it got a little out of control.
Yeah.
But that first stunner he took like that.
No.
I mean,
oh my
it was like
God.
he didn't didn't plan to do that at all. Like his legs are hitting the ropes, and it's like, oh my god.
Look, he looked like a fish out of water.
I may have looked like that just now, folks.
He looked like a chubby child stuck on a waterbed. Just absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's talk more about AEW Full Gear. Hangman Page, who I'll tell you, if for somebody that sticks out, it's an AEW guy to me. That's Hangman Page. I love. He's got the look. He's got the personality. He's got that He's kind of a much cooler, relevant version of James Storm from Impact, if you remember those days.
Cowboy,
James Storm.
There he is.
Yeah, and so I love that. He defeated Pac. Neville, if you're a WWE mark like I am. Even though I much prefer Pac, to be quite honest with you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because Neville's not that good. What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was great, and it did everything it was supposed to.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm enjoying Hangman, because I hadn't seen a lot of Hangman's work. I've only seen, he's been on the shows like 4 times. But those two were brutal. That was a brutal wrestling match, and it was the perfect palate cleanser to a tag team match that we had right before. It's exactly what the show needed. Like, it didn't like bring down the card, but it slowed the crowd down, brought them back to, hey, we're back to normal wrestling.
Rock and Roll Express is in the back.
They're gone. Now let's watch this phenomenal showing of 2 amazing professionals.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and I hope you enjoyed that palate cleanser, because we're going to come back and talk about the rest of AEW Full Gear. We will, I promise you. This is Loganity, presented by Mojo Sports Gear.
The future of broadcasting is evolving, and you can be on the front line. Digital and traditional media jobs are being created daily, and the Columbus campus of the Ohio Media School can help you find your next career. With financial aid and job placement assistance available, the Columbus campus of the Ohio Media School provides instruction from industry-experienced veterans like me, ready to share their knowledge of the media broadcasting industry. Contact us today at 614-655-5250 or apply online at beonair.com. The Ohio Media School. Media broadcasting training starts here.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School. Do you have a passion for broadcasting, sports, or film production? The Ohio Media School is currently enrolling. For more information, visit beonair.com or give us a call at 614-655-5250. That's 614-655-5250.
This is Score on Air, the new generation of sports talk. And this is Loganity, Select Your Styles, the Vibes Guy. I'm here. Logan is here.
Oh, brother, I am here, live in the living color. And you know who else is here? Your resident.
Who else is here?
Your favorite Jericho-holic.
King Jericho-holic, man. We're going to put that on a shirt. King Jericho-holic.
We need to put that on a shirt.
King Jericho-holic.
Do you know anyone we could call, perhaps, for a shirt? Mojo's.
Maybe.
Mojo.
Is there a place?
Is it Mojo Sports Gear?
Yeah, because we really need some mojo with our Loganity sports gear, if you will.
This is the new generation of sports talk, after all.
Absolutely, and we are the leaders of the new generation.
There it is.
We're the leaders of something. I'm not sure if it's the new generation, though.
And like every new generation, I'm sure there's a bunch of angry people in the back going, "That's not the way we used to do it." That's right, we signify change here. We signify change.
Like Saudi Arabia.
Oh my! That was last week. Hey, that was last week.
Kobe.
We have moved on.
Kobe coming with the 3.
Oh, you can pull up and take that J, and I don't mean Snoop Dogg's.
That's right.
So anywho, but yes, we need to figure out a way. I don't know if we could contact Mojo Sports Gear. They do present a little.
I think they need a hard cam promo. That's what it is.
Would you like a hard cam promo?
That's what it is. They have to, you know what I mean?
All right. This is Loganity, presented by Mojo Sports Gear. And do you have t-shirt needs? Then let me tell you who you ought to call. Mojo Sports Gear. Do you have Mojo but not sports gear? Then you need Mojo Sports Gear. They have the finest. I'm talking about the finest. Like the China you only had for Thanksgiving. They have the finest screen printing around. They produce all the finest T-shirts. And look, I don't know if they know, but they need to give me a call, and I'll give them a call, and we'll put each other over, because there is not another T-shirt company that drops the big leg like Mojo Sports Gear. That's right, Mojo Sports Gear. All right, that's how you put people over right there.
Folks, right there,
Yeah,
prime
you know what?
example.
Yeah, you know
Oh
what?
my goodness, and that was off the top of the head, ladies and gentlemen.
Promos,
That
man.
was
Hard to get promos.
Oh, we've done 2 of them now. I think I got a third one for later.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah. Oh, wait till we get to Lana. But
Oh, I
first,
knew it.
let's do it.
Yeah, let's finish this.
Really?
one. Yeah.
Let's talk. Look, finish Lana. That's ridiculous. Anywho, that's inappropriate. Anywho, let's talk about the rest of AEW.
Let me say one last thing before I forget.
Go ahead.
Nothing against Tony Schiavone. However, JR and Excalibur have wicked chemistry together. That's the best
really weird.
commentating they've had across the show. I mean, JR made some
agree.
mistakes, and you heard him get mad. Like he was like, "What? Suck." I heard him. I heard him say.
Yeah,
it.
I heard him say
I heard
that.
him say. it.
JR, look,
But that
JR
was
knows
the
pressure he's under. He knows it.
Yeah, but that was the best. Just those two bouncing off each other, sharing little stories was really, really enjoyable.
They have that chemistry, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And at first, as I remember, we did the first show, the first AEW show, and we were talking like, you know, is he going to be able to catch the ball? He's getting back on his feet. He's becoming that Jim Ross that we know for that product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It took him some time, but he is starting to find that. He's
Yeah.
not quite at that level yet, but
Correct.
he seems to be getting more comfortable with every week. And honestly, at this point, and I did not watch the full show, but I did watch an hour highlight video, so I heard plenty of commentary. It felt like Shivani was the odd man out, where for a while it felt like JR was the odd man out. Where all of a sudden it felt like Shivani took a bit of a step back, and maybe that was to prop JR up. I don't know. Shivani seems like a good enough guy to do such a thing. But yeah, I just thought that he didn't. Again, he didn't necessarily feel needed. Nothing against Tony Schiavone.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
against it. But Excalibur, and we'll get to him later because he had a bit of a kerfuffle, a brouhaha.
Oh, my days.
Oh,
He
brouhaha.
said, "Oh my days, let's go on a T-shirt."
Oh, my.
Put it on
And you're
there.
going to get those T-shirts at Mojo Sports Gear.
That's right.
And this is Loganity, presented by
Mojo Sports Gear?
Mojo.
Right here, live at.
Mojo Sports Gear.
Hit
We're
him
not
with it.
really. We're just kidding. We're live at the Ohio Media School.
cool.
We
We're
just-
on air.
But
We love Mojo Sports Gear.
But it's presented by the Ohio Loganity at the Ohio Media School is presented by Mojo Sports Gear.
There
How
it
you
is.
doing?
How's that for a cheap
right.
pop and plug?
So, Sean Spears and Joey Janela.
Yes.
Did you see highlights of that?
I did see highlights of that.
That's the ugliest face I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, look, I'm playing the game on hard mode. God bless me in every way he could. It's all right. Hey.
You do that too?
Oh, man. Hey.
That's what she
He just-
said.
He just point in the mirror. Just why? I have the ugly.
I got it, mommy.
Oh, how I have a girlfriend is beyond me, and I'm sure it's beyond you to all the listeners at this point.
At this point, at least. All right, this Joey Janela match and Sean Spears, who we honestly can't get invested in because, I mean, you know.
Yeah, because again, Sean Spears lacks the ability to sell me.
And why is he still doing the 10 thing? Does Vince
Yeah,
not know that this
yeah.
thing is on
I
cable?
mean, I don't know
or,
if you
I mean,
can trademark that.
I mean, I think you can.
He goes, I'll
Didn't we
find a way,
trademark
pal.
this, guys? Didn't we,
I'm sure
did
he
we not,
tried.
I'll
did
find
he
a way,
not
pal.
trademark this?
No,
Like,
you can't trademark that. Everybody does that.
Yeah, he did trademark
that, bro.
this. That's why those Bucks of Young get cease and desist letters.
Yeah, they do high fives now. They do high fives.
Or as Matt Hardy would say, the Bucks of Youth.
The Bucks of Youth.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Glorious Jesus.
Oh, good Lord. Yes, Jesus is glorious. Thank you. Yes, he is.
All right.
And he blesses us to be right here on Loganity.
Sponsored by who?
Mojo Sports Gear.
We got one guy whose claim to fame is getting suplexed off a barn. You know, all power to you. You know, that's crazy. But, you know, he doesn't have the catch-can wrestling ability that one would expect. And then you put him in the ring with a guy that has all of that, but doesn't have a character or emotion at all. He's like
The chairman.
a slightly more entertaining Lance Storm because he can talk a little bit better than Lance.
If I can be serious.
And Lance Storm, if you're listening, you're probably not. I love you, man. I'm just saying.
I'm still getting,
Just saying the truth. This guy is more.
I'm still getting over suplexed off a barn. I can't quit laughing at that. He said his baby is suplexed off a barn.
Allow the record to state.
And did I say it all nonchalant like it happens every day?
This is claim to fame, though, dude. That's how he got rich.
I love this show so much. I love all of it. Oh, God.
Also, Logan, in touchback, one more thing. I know we're back facing, but whenever it's Loganity, what's the format? If we can have fun. At my house on Thanksgiving, we eat from plastic plates. We don't bring the fine china out. But we save that for funerals.
Is that a Janela reference?
No.
I'm confused.
Look, as do I. Look, as do I. It's Paper Plate City. I'm in for the upper folk. That's not me. That's not
Paper
me.
plates at my house. We're going to wash them dishes. Y'all better cut it out.
In the
I
words
can't hang out with you guys on Tuesdays.
in the words of CCR, that's not me. I ain't no fortunate son. Oh my, I'm still getting over suplex.
I'm going to learn how to cut to a break. I'm going to learn.
All right.
Who take deep breaths, fellas?
Woosah.
Get back on track.
Guys,
We
even
got a
on
whole hour to go
Loganity-
here.
I know. Even on Loganity, it gets real here.
Oh my.
Anybody else have comments about these two gentlemen? Wrestling?
Let's see what's going on here on the social media. How about that? Come to find out, Randy Orton is 39 years young.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Social media, thank you.
Oh, suplex off a bar.
Shouts out to Giant Eagle.
Yes. Look at all these.
Look, Mojo Sports Gear. If you're listening, if we don't have T-shirts that say suplex then something is wrong. I want T-shirts that say suplex on the
And the bar's got to be on the back, and the
Yeah.
guy's got to be on the front.
and then just a little Loganity logo right there at the bottom.
Like halfway,
Oh,
we
my
can have
days.
like, the legs and the arms combined right here. One half, one dude here, one dude here.
Oh my God, my jaws hurt.
She also said that as well.
Oh hey,
Just throwing it out
I
there.
guess you put a little mojo in her sports gear.
Good one.
Anywho, all right, let's get this back on track as best I can. Well, yeah, it's just tough for me to get invested in that match.
Suplexed off a bar.
It's just difficult. Let's move. I can't do it anymore.
Let's move to the tag title match, guys. We can't do it.
All right, SCU. They defeated the Private Party and Lucha Brothers to retain the tag team titles. And I'm crying.
This is why we can't hang out between 4 and 6. You know what?
Oh my God.
Chris Jericho, if you're watching, give us a call, man. We could have a great time in
Tell
here.
Jericho. A little bit of the bubbly, man. He brings
Whatever
some of the-
viewers we had, it was just left.
I don't know,
It
man.
was just left.
No, they're around still.
Hey, don't make fun of my size. Look, SCU defeated Private Party and the Lucha Brothers, retaining the Tag Team Championships. Now, this was a match I did enjoy. Because, again, the Lucha Bros are kind of what I wish the Young Bucks would be. Is, yeah, they're time to be a little choreographic, but then other times they can go with the best of them. And then, plus, the real highlight here was, of course, boy, he blew that 6 to 8 week timeline out the water.
he?
Christopher Daniels pops up like a pimple on prom night.
Not only Christopher Daniels, but Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. He had that little.
Yeah, you guys better not forget the Fallen Angel portion. That's very vital.
Exactly
That's
what they
vital
were
for
seeing.
success.
It's kind of like his version of Majin Vegeta, if that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. That sort of thing. By the way, I love Majin Vegeta for what it's worth. But absolutely, I enjoyed this match. I thought it was one of the best matches on the card. It was probably the best technical wrestling match on the card because you're looking at SCU can go. Private Party, for as goofy as their gimmick is, and who isn't goofy? They can go.
They can go.
And of course, the Lucha Brothers. Look, you can't overstate how good they really
No, they're
are.
amazing.
Really can't. Ray
in the ring.
Phoenix is
Like,
this
no,
generation's Rey
legit-
Mysterio.
And the only
to me,
reason,
like, by far.
the only
No, I
reason they don't
agree.
get that love is because they haven't worked for major companies besides AEW yet. But as AEW continues to grow their brand, the Lucha Brothers are becoming a household name, and I don't mean like garbage.
Right.
I mean they're going to be a real household name in tag team wrestling. So
Like divorce or alimony.
And like
Right. Come to.
I don't know. I'm 28. I'm 28. I have no idea what divorce or alimony means.
keep it that way as long as possible.
Right, youngster.
He's not bitter or anything. Loganity. Therapy session. Call me at 614-735-7822.
8675
What's the rest
309,
of it?
baby.
I don't know.
It's time for your guy.
I will have one complaint about that match.
Please do. You watch the pay-per-view.
It was too short. I really liked the 3 teams, only 2 guys allowed in the ring at the same time. I liked that. It created a totally different dynamic. One of the private party had to tag in a Lucha Brother or a member of SCU because Montez Ford was out and he didn't have a choice or he was just going to lose, and that doesn't do anybody any good. So psychology right there, that's what I love to see.
It told a good story.
It did, but it was just... It was like quicker than a hiccup almost in comparison to some of the other matches on the card, and that was one I was like, got ready, I paused it real quick, got my coffee, got my soda, got all my stuff right here, because I'm going to be sitting here for like 45 minutes watching this, and then it ended in like 15 or 20, and I'm like, what just happened?
Well, and that makes me believe that the old someone ran over thing happened, because I saw, again, I did see this match in full, because what I didn't find in the highlight video, I went and watched. It had the feel, especially for the kind of feud this has been built up to be. It had the old, I think somebody ran over on their time, so we had to cut somewhere. And you're not going to cut Chris Jericho because Chris Jericho. And knowing what they had planned for Moxley and Omega now, you weren't going to cut there. So it was somebody's got to fall short, and I think that's what happened.
Who drinks coffee and soda at the same time?
This guy?
Those who want heart attacks.
Okay, there it is. Sweeter than diabetes.
Oh, much sweeter than diabetes. And much
That's
better.
why I have a job that makes me run around a store, folks.
And much better than getting suplexed off a bar.
No, we can't go there, guys.
Oh, again,
go
Mojo Sports Gear. We need suplexed off a barn. Need a barn on the back and a low.
But hey, Vince, Tony, if you're listening, I will take a suplex off a top rope through a table. That's totally cool, and I'll do it for like $50.
And he'll do it in a Mojo Sportswear shirt.
And I will wear a Mojo Sportswear shirt.
Oh my! And so, but again, he won't be suplexed off a barn.
You know who would never take a bump off of a barn?
Who?
Chris Jericho.
No,
because
he
his
would not.
bump card. His bump card.
Now that is a better segue than those you see at the mall. Paul Blart is proud.
He's proud.
Paul Blart is proud, brother.
As a
Too sweet,
cohesive.
yes, sir. Oh, yes. Speaking of wrestlers that would never take a suplex off a bar, the AEW World Championship match, and let's show this one a little respect. Chris Jericho won via stoppage from MJF. He went turncoat. He said, Paul Revere, I'll see you.
I'll raise you.
And he threw in the towel on one Cody Rhodes, as some call him, but his actual name is just Cody with the copyright
Is
thing.
it Reynolds? Is his last name Reynolds?
Look, his name is just Cody.
I mean, he's the plumber's son.
He's
grandfather.
the grandson of a plumber.
Grand uncle. Carry the two. You have to carry the two, Logan.
He is the grandbaby of the son of the plumber. So that's how that works. Anywho. Oh man. Whew, we are way off track here. Yeah.
We're in a 3-hour show.
Yeah, no, we don't actually. No, I can't do it. I'm not sure my jaws can take
Try it.
from the
He
last.
said that as well.
And
You guys stop
the
getting the
sweat and the sweat rolls.
Look, we
it's
just
warm in
lay
here.
it up. You.
Anyway, but no, Cody is the grandson of the plumber, and that's, or as Ric Flair would say, nothing happening, grandson of a plumber. But Cody proved there's plenty happening. Again, I did apologize. You can go back and watch that later.
See his wife is hot. There's a lot going on over there. There's plenty happening.
There's a lot.
Sorry, but Brandy Rhodes has nothing to do with this.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
You're not wrong.
You plug a guy's wife when you plug a guy. If the wife is hot enough, you plug a wife too. Plug the wife.
Hey, let's leave all the plugs out.
We'll get there for Raw. We'll talk about a lot of plugging wives at Raw.
All right. Look, stop plugging Brandy Rhodes and let's hop back here.
All right, so
Man, there's gotta be a better way to phrase that. The plugging.
Look, let's just dismount
World
here.
Heavyweight Championship, the first time it had ever been defended, because let's recall, it was a vacant new championship.
Jericho
Chris
is the youngest
Jericho
champion.
and Hangman.
at
I was
4.
going to say that,
In
but yes,
history,
the
in
youngest
history.
AEW champion in history is 49 years old, ladies and
Chris Jericho.
gentlemen.
Let's give it a round of applause for AEW.
And that's why Chris Jericho is a national treasure.
Eat your heart out, Brock Lesnar. Eat your heart out.
I like the judge's touch.
Hey.
Come on. I mean, what were they judging?
If it went 60 minutes, they had to decide a winner,
Yeah.
which
I can enjoy it. I can understand that to some extent. Now,
Olympic Committee, if you're listening, this is how you make professional wrestling an Olympic sport. You have judges that are impartial, and they judge the quality of the match in the ring.
Absolutely.
But I digress. Logan, let's talk about this match.
Absolutely. Look, I enjoyed. I saw this match in full. Look, I enjoyed it. Again, you can't say enough about Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is, as far as being a heel at this stage of his career, he's God's gift. I mean, you can't, and you know I'm not a Jericho-holic, but I mean, facts are facts, and that's what we deal in here, loganity. Absolutes and not getting suplexed off a bar.
Gods.
Absolutely we do. And so Chris Jericho can't put it over enough. Now, because he can make magic with a broomstick. He can. He really, really can. That's why I know. Here comes another Undertaker reference. That's why at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, the casket match should have been.
It should have been
Taker and Jericho, because Jericho would have made magic with whatever's left of the Undertaker.
Magic?
Do
you believe in
when
magic?
Chris Jericho's in the ring. Yes, I
That's
do.
copyright.
By the way, that's a poster. My dear Lord, he suplexed off a barn.
He suplexed off a barn.
You know, we're going
His
to put
claim
that
to
up
fame
next
is
week
getting
on the screen.
suplexed off a barn. Oh, I'm renaming our group chat to Suplex Off a Barn.
Nice.
Thanks. So when we talk loganity next week, Suplexed Off a Barn. Anyway, but tell me your thoughts on it. Give me your thoughts.
I thought this match was Professional Wrestling 101. If you're not sure how professional wrestling works, this is how it works, folks. You start slow, you build and build with wrestling holds, more risky, more powerful maneuvers, a certain middle spot that I'm going to go ahead and say Cody jumped way too high for that.
Yeah.
Because if he would have been like in the WWE, he'd have broke his neck on the floor.
Certainly.
He got saved by where that ramp was because he was like this.
Yeah,
And then they showed that replay, and it's just like boom, scrape.
It looked reminiscent to Undertaker WrestleMania 25 when he does the dive out and he lands practically on his neck.
Yeah.
As far as you can just see, he didn't have the altitude that he thought he was going to have. And really, when I saw that, like I said, I obviously didn't watch it live, but when I saw the YouTube of it, I was like, I hope he's okay.
Yeah,
I hope.
that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. I'm like, oh my
I was worried
God.
about his future as an in-ring competitor. I really was.
And I think that was the spot. That was the middle spot. He just wasn't supposed to jump so high because they kept talking about his ribs. Jericho worked his ribs. That's when MJF threw in the towel when he was in the Lion Tamer. So I think that was supposed to, in a kayfabe way, give damage to the ribs for Jericho to work on it. There was that little botch. It made it... And I'm really glad that it was handled.
Sweet.
It was a mistake. He wasn't supposed to bleed, and that I don't know what they used, whatever putty it was on his head to make it stop bleeding. But I'm glad they did that because you don't always need blood, especially when you're not planning on it.
You don't need you don't need blood all the time. Don't Ric Flair it. Don't overexpose it. Ric Flair and Impact overexposed the hell out of it.
But he used Neosporin, so he doesn't have scars.
Right. Yeah.
At least that's what he says.
Right. Well, he spent more money on spilt liquor than you've made in your life, so that's all right. We'll let him do what he wants. He's Ric Flair.
Yeah, it's
but no, I enjoyed the match. I was a little stunned by the heel turn. Look, MJF needs to be a heel.
He does.
Because, again, here's another Shane Douglas reference. That's who MJF reminds me of. He reminds me of, like, the franchise Shane Douglas when Shane was at his best in 97 with the Triple Threat. He's got that kind of verbal ability. He's a young, good-looking guy with vulgar promos and can talk with the best of them. It reminds me, as far as verbal ability, of Shane Douglas. And that's not an insult. People always go, well, Shane Douglas is a clerk at Kmart. Shane Douglas is one
Is he really a clerk at Kmart?
He was at one point.
I mean, we've all been having to do some bad jobs.
But people don't understand. Shane Douglas is one of the top 10 talkers in the business history. He really is. If you go back, and don't believe me, go back and watch the ECW stuff. Because for all Shane's personal issues, for all Shane's problems with Flair, all Shane's problems with authority, when it came to be on the mic, Shane Douglas was as good as there's ever been. And so when I say MJF is in that ballpark, that's high praise. That's high praise coming from me because I'm a franchise guy. And so I like the fact that he's turned heel. But here's my question, and you as an AEW fan may be able to tell me. What happens now to Cody's? Because Cody he didn't want to lose that match. He didn't throw in that towel. What happens to Cody's future opportunities at World Championships?
I think it still holds.
There's
You
only one
lost.
way to find
It doesn't
out.
matter. You lost. You didn't win. And I think he has to now. And this show is very evident of the lack of nepotism in AEW. Not a single executive won on Saturday.
Right.
Not one.
Right.
They all took the loss.
Absolutely.
And that means a lot,
Yeah.
No, that
not
means a
only to
lot. I
fans,
agree.
but to the guys in the back. Like, these guys are serious.
It does. I'll tell you who wouldn't have done that. This
No.
guy right here. I love him, but he would have never done that in his life.
He'd have won all three in the same
no, he
round
would
on Hulk
definitely.
Hogan.
He'd go Team Flair. No, I'm not putting you over. Look, I don't care if I'm not actually in the match. Drop the leg on him. Anyway,
Drop the leg, brother.
But no, I did. I loved the fact that you can tell it's not a. Right now, it's not a company ran by ego.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday it will be because it can happen. Because Hogan didn't come in with the ego he left with. He came in with an ego, of course, but it slowly grew over time, and that's when it turned into this doesn't work for me, brother, and things like that. So I hope that holds out. But right now, I'm so pleasantly surprised that the Elite aren't exactly the elite in AEW, and that's good because they're stars, and you're trying to create other stars. Put the ego aside. It's all the work anyway, right, brother? So, lastly, let's talk about it.
Being suplexed off a barn, right?
No, this is almost as bad.
It's close enough.
Well, look. I've suplexed a few things, and I've been around a barn, but I've never been suplexed off a barn. Again, Mojo Sports Gear. We need T-shirts. Suplexed off a barn on the back, Loganity logo right there. It's not Insanity, it's Loganity. Oh man, we could make a killing together.
We could. We
could.
got
Go
all
into the show
kinds of-
business.
It's speaking of killing, he got suplexed off a barn. Anyway, John Moxley defeated Kenny Omega in the old unsanctioned lights out match. The old school, hey, this one's going to get so violent we can't be legally held responsible for it. We've seen it time and time again. Terry Funk, Jerry Lawler, where you can hear Terry Funk scream out, my eye, my eye, my eye. We've seen it time and time again. You can even see it in more modern day references with halftime heat. Mick Foley in The Rock, if you recall that,
I remember
Mankind.
halftime
That
heat,
first
empty
halftime heat
arena.
was-
That was an
that
empty
was
arena.
Oh yeah,
legit.
I remember that too.
Yeah,
There it
That
is.
was legit.
Absolutely.
That was halftime heat, I
99,
recall.
brother, and you can hear Mick Foley do all his squeals and pig noises because it's an empty arena.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah, that's all right, Mrs. Foley's baby boy. He's allowed to do it.
You can do whatsoever.
And to plug Mrs. Foley's baby boy, he'll be on WWE Backstage next Tuesday at 11 on FS1. I'm not a Mick Foley mark.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
It's
not
fine.
at all.
Nothing like that. That's preposterous.
But he'll be there.
If you don't
on
like Mick
FS
Foley, there's something wrong.
Something wrong with you. Tuesday, FS1, 11 p.m. Mick Foley, Mrs. Foley's baby boy will be there. That's right, Cactus Sack himself. So, all righty. That's a good plug. I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed it because when people were wondering, is it too violent, they did the whole mousetrap thing. And when people go, is it too violent, I go, there was once a company, young lad, called ECW, where wrestlers were literally hung from crosses made out of barbed wire.
Talk about it.
Well, actually, I can't. That's as far as I can go. It's PG. It's PG-13.
Yeah, that's what made Kurt Angle sign with Vince.
Yeah,
was
you
right
know
there.
what?
that made him go, God. Next thing you know, they're gonna get suplexed off a barn.
How far is this thing really gonna go?
Yeah, we're gonna keep circling those wagons, barn wagons. See.
Yes, that's-
I like what you did there.
Thank you. Anywho, look, I enjoyed it but here's my one criticism of it. John Moxley and Kenny Omega didn't feel like a big enough feud, like it's been a long enough feud to have that much blood and violence behind it, unless you're just doing it for shock value. Because look, again, as an ECW fan, there were certain feuds that needed that shock value. There were other times where it was like, come on, Paul, stop it, he's already dead. And I felt like this was one of those cases. I didn't feel. Look, John Moxley and Kenny Omega are just kind of feuding for the sake of it. What big conflict are they having? I don't know. I don't know. Jason? What'd you think?
Well, like you said, it's not too violent.
Yeah.
Death matches are not my cup of tea. However, that was probably the most professional death match you're ever gonna see in your
Indeed.
life.
I thought you just
Indeed.
admitted to drinking coffee, not tea. All right.
If it's raspberry tea, I'll drink it.
Okay.
Just and so on that aspect, I applaud them. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. The only thing I will complain about the match is that paradigm shift to the bare ring was completely unnecessary. That is the unsafest thing they did in that 45 minutes of destroying each other was that, because Kenny Omega hit the wood. Like, that's not safe. That can cause serious injuries.
So did she.
With that, look, I'll give you a few more minutes on that, but right now we got to go to break. This is Loganity presented by Mojo Sports Gear. Hello, I'm Logan Morris, and this is your Score on Air College Football Rundown. Ohio State returned to action this week and absolutely dominated Maryland, beating them by a final score of 73-14. This is the type of game that in previous years may have snuck up on the Buckeyes. Not in 2019. They have quieted every possible critic in a big way so far this season. Buckeye quarterback Justin Fields continued to be dynamic as he passed for 3 touchdowns and rushed for another. But it was the Buckeye rushing attack that ran roughshod over Maryland's defense. Buckeyes had 383 total rushing yards. Running back Master Teague had a big day, rushing for 111 yards and 18 carries. Maryland was simply no match for the Buckeyes from the outset of the game. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, Penn State's college football playoffs took a serious hit as they were beaten by Minnesota 31-26. The Golden Gophers were able to expose Penn State's secondary as Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan passed for 339 yards and 3 touchdowns. Golden Gopher wide receiver Rashad Bateman had a huge day with 7 receptions, 203 yards, and 1 touchdown. Defensively, the Gophers had Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford off his game. He threw 3 interceptions, with 2 of those being caught by star defensive back Antoine Winfield Jr. Clifford did throw for 349 yards, and wide receiver KJ Hamler had 119 of those. Penn State made too many mistakes. Suddenly, Minnesota has a path to the playoff. But the game of the week was what I like to call the game of the century part 2 between Alabama and LSU. The Tigers got the better of the Tide here, beating them 46-41. Tigers quarterback Joe Burrow was simply unstoppable as he went 31-39, passing for 393 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tigers running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a big day as well, with 103 yards and 3 touchdowns on 20 carries. Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had a gutsy performance on a bad ankle, passing for 418 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had a lot of help from wide receiver Devontae Smith, who had 7 receptions for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the ground, Najee Harris did all he could as he rushed for 146 yards and 1 touchdown on 19 carries. With the next set of college football playoff rankings coming out tonight, it'll be interesting to see just how far Alabama falls. Catch me in full Loganity mode this Thursday night on the Karen K Show from 6 to 8 right here on Score on Air. I'll be back Thursday to discuss the due top 4 and get you ready for this weekend's action. I'm Logan Morris, and this has been your Score on Air College Football Rundown. And we're back here on another episode of Loganity. It is Off the Wall Tuesday, and I do believe we have lived up to that. I mean, and if you don't believe, yeah, I mean, you don't believe us. Maybe you've been suplexed off a bar. So we're gonna keep doing that.
We're gonna beat that dead horse, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Look, if the NW Wolfpack can be born, then guess what? We can keep suplexing off the bar. Well, let me give you a few more minutes here, Jason, because we got hot and heavy. Like a late night with your lady, and we went a little overboard. So let me give you the full floor here to finish your thoughts on John Moxley versus Kenny Omega.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, they're not death matches aren't my thing. Never have been. There's a point. There's hardcore. I'm cool with death match. It's a little much. Yeah. Like I said, most professional death match you'll see, everything was gimmicked. Thank God, because if it wasn't, those two would have been ribbons. Yeah. The way they sold things, the effect that it had while I was watching it when Moxley got pulled through the glass. You can't fake that, so I'm glad it was sugar glass or whatever it was that they used. But back to my point right before the break, a power bomb to the boards is fine. Mm-hmm. A sidewalk slam to the bare boards is fine. A DDT to the bare boards is not. And even a power bomb is pushing it, because let's all look at Tommaso Ciampa. He took that power bomb to the concrete and was out in like a month, for 6 months. So I mean, there's a time and a place for it, but I think they could have finished it in the spider web barbed wire and called it a day. I thought they would, because everybody's pulling them out. Like, okay, we got to get all these guys from the back to get these guys out of this. And then they wrestle for another 15 minutes.
It felt a little anticlimactic in that sense because there's a certain point that you've reached the feet of the pitch here. You know, like the best way I can compare it is when Taker threw McFoley off the Hell in the Cell, then he comes back and he takes more bumps, then he comes back and he goes through again. After a certain point, you go, all right, it's lost its shock value, and now it's like, what are you doing?
But at that also, it's kind of hard to compare the Foley thing to this because, in a sense, Foley did it 3 different ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? So each time it kind of built to another climax. Even though back in those days we thought, okay, up the top of the cell, that is the climax. What else can this guy possibly do? What are you doing? So I understand what you're saying as well.
Because I certainly found myself going, stop the damn match.
Stop it. He's dead.
Does anybody else, every time you bring up that match, get the visual of Undertaker's face when Foley's like this? Throw me over. Throw me over. And Taker's like, what? He like literally stops. Like, are you serious right now? I don't know about this there, Mick.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
Okay, yeah, all right, Jack, whatever. But yeah, that was. But again, all in all, AEW, I thought what I saw, good show, not groundbreaking, but certainly better than most pay-per-views WWE puts on these days as far as telling a story, having your cool moments with the Rock and Roll Express. Long live rock and roll. I don't care if they needed help; they've earned it.
Rock and Roll Express, man, they can get away with murder.
Hey, easy now.
How you doing?
The next thing you know, they'll start running for office. But anyway, let's talk about the catheter show. That's right. If you thought 3 hours live was long, 3 hours knowing that it was taped Friday after SmackDown is even longer. And I find myself going, hey,
those poor people.
You could just check the spoilers, but I love you. Loganity listeners, Loganity loves you right back. And if you don't love me, what's wrong with you? Because what's not to love? I have a Johnny Bravo level of confidence.
You know what, though, Logan? I wouldn't call it the Capper Show this week because you know what? It wasn't necessarily a horrible show.
Look, Styles, with all due respect here, there comes a time where I kick it to you, and there comes a time when I didn't kick it to you. So,
I didn't kick it to you, Styles, so you know what?
So, look, I know that you're on the Loganity train, but I'm steering the train. No, brother, I'm just kidding you. I'm just kidding you, I swear. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's kick it off, because I always call it the Catheter Show, even if they make a great episode. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, that's right, Ric Flair's daughter.
No way, we kicked it off with Flair's daughter? No
Flair's
way.
daughter, I don't believe it.
I can't believe this is a great week.
10-time world champion. Look out, Rick, it's in trouble. It's just in trouble. They faced the Kabuki Warriors for the Tag Team Championships. And I got to tell you guys, I kind of thought for a second, because I was like, are they really going to give the titles to Ric Flair's daughter? And I said, of course they'll probably give the titles to Ric Flair's daughter. Look, I thought it was a pretty solid match. Went a little long, felt a little forced. Asuka being possessed by the Green Mist is getting a little weird. Because Asuka's a beautiful, beautiful woman, and now she's got the it's like Great Muta is trapped inside her, or some sort of fusion. There's some sort of fusion thing, or Tajiri is begging to come out.
It's like weird. Stay in the back.
It's weird how her eyes are all. Yeah, it's just odd. What'd you think of the match, Jason?
Man, I thought the match was really good. I mean, I'm a sucker for these four. Anytime they're in the ring, I'm already happy. They're some of the finest female wrestlers on the planet.
Sucker, happy.
I would agree, yeah. Big sucker.
Sucker, I'm happy.
And the right team went over.
I got you, buddy.
And I like how they're not, I can't say they're revamping Charlotte Flair. But it seems to me she's moving away from the flashy and really starting to embrace the power that she has. Because, I mean, she picked up Asuka from an octopus hold. Like, who's strong enough to do a full-grown woman is on your back and you're tilted like this. And she's in the air because the octopus, your other leg's up here.
Right.
And she just kind of lifts her up like it's nothing. Like... I mean, she's still struggling because she's a showman.
Of course, right.
And then to turn around and do it again when she was in the armbar and just power bomb her down. I mean, I think that's the key to keeping Charlotte Flair fresh. Keep switching her up a little bit because she can do so much that maybe she sometimes forgets everything that she's good at.
I highly doubt she forgets, and if she does forget, her father certainly doesn't let her forget
Not
for too long.
at least.
And I'm sure he's just at Paul Triple H Levesque's ear going, she's my daughter. She's my daughter. Put her over. Look, here's the thing. Again, but it felt odd because it feels like Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair are too big to not go over, but it feels like you would cut the knees off of the Kuku Warriors' momentum. So it was a little odd to see those two stuck together. I don't know a better tag team you could have done that with, but it's like Becky Lynch can't take the loss. Charlotte Flair can't really take the loss because you're not going to devalue Ric Flair's daughter.
No, that's not happening. It's not an option.
And you're not going to devalue the man who 1 year ago today became the man with the broken face punch thing. That happened 1 year ago today, guys.
Wow.
There's your historical
Who did she
fact.
punch again? Who was that?
And Nia Jax punched her in the face and broke her face.
And she just went up
So
up into the
Rock's
crowd.
cousin basically,
Yeah, the Rock's cousin
the Rock's lineage.
She's not safe.
Well, hey.
Well,
she
In the ring.
Yeah, she might be safe. She's been on TV for a long time. We don't know.
That's true.
But anywho, 1 year ago today that happened. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Again, felt a little long, but I knew it was 3 hours of content to fill, and probably a little longer because we got less content to fill because it's a tape show and it's an odd little thing because we can make commercial break a little longer if we need to. And the crowd was piping hot with piped in noises, and that's what you love about those tape shows over in the UK. Next, what happened? Drew McIntyre. Yes, that's right, the Scottish psychopath, as they called him. He defeated Sin Cara, who asked for his release the same day this aired. And after seeing that match, I can kind of understand why he asked for his release. He's getting run over by that Mack truck. And look, all I can say is this. If Drew McIntyre, I don't know what the plan is for The Undertaker as far as WrestleMania 36. And I'm sure Big Mean Mark isn't sure either. I'm sure he's gimping around the house right now going, I'm not coming back. We know you're coming back, Mark. Look, here's the deal. If Taker isn't going to eventually face The Fiend, Drew McIntyre better face The Undertaker at WrestleMania 36 because Drew McIntyre deserves, whether he wins or loses, he needs a marquee matchup. Drew McIntyre has it.
He does.
Drew McIntyre is the one example in recent memory of Impact Wrestling making a guy better because he went to Impact and that's where he became this Drew McIntyre. And so Drew McIntyre, again, I don't know what the plan is for the OG of big dogs, the biggest dog in the yard, and yes, the oldest dog in the yard, The Undertaker. But if they're not planning on sticking the Fiend with him, then Drew McIntyre better be the guy next year. Because he needs a main event feud, whether he wins, loses, or draws, because I'm not ever going to advocate for a Taker loss at Mania. I'd like to see victory number 25. Drew McIntyre needs to be it, because he's got it. And he deserves better than this, this weird squash match, Ryback Goldberg thing. So I hope that Undertaker worked with him at Extreme Rules and said, I see money in that young man, and let's go make a 15-minute match out of it, make something happen. Because Taker can have it, and Drew McIntyre deserves the rub of working with The Undertaker because he needs something marquee. Something. Don't you agree?
I agree 100%. I would love to see that match because you're right. Drew McIntyre's amazing, but since he's come back, he hasn't had that marquee match, and who knows why. It's easy to throw Drew McIntyre at anyone and almost turn it into a marquee match.
Absolutely.
And the one thing, Sin Cara wanting out really hurt this match. You could tell. I mean, not for lack. I'm not saying Sin Cara didn't have effort. He went out there and he performed, but you could tell he did not want to be there. He did his job. He did everything that was asked. He had a good match, but you could just tell in his body language he did not want to be there.
He was going through the motions. He went out and did his job like a professional, but you could see there was a lack of luster in Sin Cara, whichever version this is. It might be version number 45.
Not sure.
I'm not sure. Whatever happened to that original one. Next up, Seth Rollins came out and cut a promo that turned into an open challenge. It turned into a tag team match as Walter came out with Imperium, and it went all over the place. The Street Profits were out there. Kevin Owens was out there. It really felt like such a tangled web. What a tangled web we weave here. Because it was like, couldn't we have just not had 20 minutes of killing time to get to where we got? Because it was starting to match with Walter, then they're like, well, I ain't got all this involved, let's make it a tag match. And by the way, what authority figure made it a tag match?
Nobody.
Paul Heyman didn't come out and announce that or anything.
Maybe he did it in a commercial.
Well, you never know what could happen in a WWE live event. That's why you got to see it live. What'd you think of it? I thought it was too forced. I thought it was too forced.
It was a little too forced, but it was also like the match was too fast, or there weren't enough people involved. Like only Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins wrestled.
Yeah.
As far as their team went, the Street Profits did one run in, and that was it. They were just there. So are they hurt? Like, what's going on?
I think it was just. I think it was a lot of throwaway because I think unfortunately, the UK only gets the WWE twice a year. So literally, they'll lead up the scraps and love it because those crowds are usually hot. They seem to enjoy it. And so I feel like there was a bit of a phoned-in effort, especially when you consider the fact we're coming off Crown Jewel, more phoned in, and Survivor Series is coming up. It just felt awkward, and we had the first drawback of Brock Lesnar being Raw champion because Brock ain't flying over to the UK.
No, he is not.
He's not. No, we can tape something via satellite if you like, Paul, but I'm not getting on the plane.
And then the one thing Montez Ford did do was almost jump onto the commentators table from the ring. Did anybody else see that crazy length of a jump? Like I've never seen anything like that ever.
That boy got hops.
Like folks, if you watching at home, if you didn't see this is Montez Ford. This is the ring. This is him jumping over the ropes, and here's the commentator table over here. He landed on it, people, from this far away.
2 feet down.
From the ring. It was amazing.
And I'll tell you, I found myself going, whenever Tom Holland is done being Spider-Man, I know a guy we can call.
I know a guy.
Montez Ford.
And it will now be Spider-Man, we want the smoke.
If you take my Spider-Man away from me, I'm going to be mad. Just saying.
You can have him.
You said when Tom Holland's done being Spider-Man, that never going to happen. Because we still have Spider-Man 3. We still have like 8 Avengers movies he's going to do. Yeah. And we have the Spider-Man multiverse movie where it's going to have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Don't you dare take that dream away from me, loganity.
Well, look, I'm not here to take dreams away, but look, if you really want to dream, then you got to get the smoke. And if you tuned in on Monday, you'd understand what I'm talking about.
I was going to say, that makes me think of like the Cheech and Chong kind of thing.
No, not even that.
No, but I'll see y'all after the show. Anywho.
How you doing?
I'll see y'all. We love you, Snoop. If you're listening, call me. Anywho.
Call me, please.
Call me as well. Don't call Logan. Call me.
You can come hang out at my house. I'll cook you some bomb food, man.
All right, now let's get to what we got to talk about.
I was off camera for a second. I got back on camera specifically for this.
Well, Lana does. Lana does tend to bring guys front and center.
She does.
She sure does.
Something about the front.
And there's a lot around the center. So anywho, oh my Lord, Peyton, I love you. This
guy's gonna be eating banquet meals tonight. Big banquet.
Then probably might have to cook it myself now. So Lana comes out and she cuts this promo where she announces she is 9 weeks pregnant. And we're about to take this PG-13 thing to the limit because this happened on a PG program. She announced that it is her 7-week sex-iversary.
Say it again. How many weeks?
7 weeks sex-iversary.
7 weeks sex-iversary.
With Bobby Lashley, and she announced she is 9 weeks pregnant. So that means, according to her, that Rusev, her soon-to-be ex-husband, her sex addict husband, her Bulgarian, I'm not gonna say what she said.
I can't believe she called him that on air, by the way.
I mean, a Bulgarian, you saw it, did you? So, lack of a father. Thing, whatever.
Doesn't know his father.
That's just too close to home. Yeah. It's just too. I mean, Rusev's been through a lot, and so she cuts his promo, and they talk about how much sex they had, and Rusev comes out, and he talks about how. Let me get this straight. You're telling me I'm a sex addict, you're leaving, and all of a sudden now you're pregnant, and she had this big fit about having a Bulgarian monster. She had a fit to the point that she was almost speaking in Russian tongue. It was weird. It was some sort of conversion. It was Lana and then it was old Lana. It was like the battle of the pantsuit meets the current Lana. It was
like,
weird.
Hey, remember me?
It was a split personality, like half face sort of thing. It was odd. It was really, really odd. Like I said, because she was practically speaking in tongue by the end of it, there getting worked up. And then she slaps the taste right out of Rusev's mouth.
Several times.
Several times. It looked like your local trailer park with a pack of Newports and a bag of McDonald's. I mean, it was action-packed. It was a great episode of Cops last night. And so And then it turns out she was lying the whole time. She goes up to Lashley there before they play their usual round of tonsil tennis. And she said, I can't believe he thought I was pregnant. And I found myself going, who did Rusev piss off in the back? Now he's lied about, now he's going to be a father, not really. His wife is let's just say taking the Hershey's chocolate train. And it's just...
Oh, man, we win again. I'm going to go ahead and say it. We win again. And you know what? Kick to me. Kick to me.
Go ahead. Styles,
Yeah.
you have the floor.
There it is. Yeah. See,
my favorite Hershey kiss.
yeah,
How
there
are
it
you?
is. Listen, I'm one of the 10 greatest of all time, and I got to say this straight up. If I was in Bobby Lashley's seat, I don't care, even if this is storyline, even if we're writing this, I'm kissing your wife, dude. Dude, you know I kiss your wife every day on national television. The world sees it. Lashley is a real winner, whether he loses the match, whether he grows eyebrows, or whether we learn to invest in him.
I don't know
Lashley wins.
I don't know if he's trying to gimmick off Jeffree Star there or not. Jason, I see you about ready to pounce. About ready to pounce like a Jericho
So
Holland.
I'm going to give Bobby Lashley all the props in the world because did you guys catch his reaction when Lana told him that on the ramp? It was legit, like, it was like he didn't know.
Yeah,
he played that perfect. Like, wait, you're not pregnant? Like, he was so
my
surprised.
days.
Because,
And dang it, all to bloody hell, that promo sucked me into everything.
Finally.
It was such a beautiful professional wrestling train wreck that I got pulled right into it. More so than when, my son's mom makes me watch Maury, because you don't get to see Fist and Maury, but you get to see it on Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely. I know that this storyline's got more corn than a long drive in Ohio. I know.
Ow.
I know it does. But it's an old school way. And so, look, if you just take it for what it is, just take the ride. Just take the ride and try to enjoy the absolute shenanigan of it. You're not going to hate it.
That's
Look.
what Lashley told Lana.
Oh,
Just waiting for that.
oh, my. Well, there's a reason they call him the Almighty. So he's the Almighty Bobby Lashley.
Leo Rush is the only person to ever call him that. I'm starting to wonder why now.
Wait a minute.
What does Lana call him? Do we know?
Are you implying that...
I'm not implying anything. I asked a question. I made a statement. There's no
Are you
implication.
implying that there's some sort of Freak the Mighty situation going on?
I have no idea. I just want to know why Leo Rush is the only one to call him the Almighty. Lana doesn't call him that.
Leo Rush was trying to put him over.
Look, to be fair, we don't have cameras in their bedroom. We don't know what she calls it. Alrighty. But yeah, look, if you just got to take it for what it is, folks.
The most over theme this segment was Lana's legs. As we continue.
And Lana's everything else. Again, I love you, Peyton, but you'll understand.
She is Lana.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. All right, quickly here, let's finish up Raw. Randy Orton, Ricochet, and Humberto.
Who?
Humberto Carrillo. Humberto. Like I said, we're like Johnny Cash and Walk the Line. We're just trying to hum and find that right key. So Humberto, and they defeated the OC. Again, I don't understand why I'm being told to like this guy. Humberto looks like a deer in headlights every time a promo is cut on him or with him, near him in the room. He looks like, what did they tell me to say here?
What was I supposed to say again?
He looks, I mean, it looks like the teleprompter went out. It does. He's got all the athleticism in the world. He's much more flexible than I'll ever be, I can tell you that. And you want to talk about a guy that can bend a knee, that's Humberto Carrillo. Shout out to Baron Corbin.
Yeah, Humberto just made me yawn. Quick question: what's his gimmick? What's his deal? Like, who is he? Where did he come from? Was he one of those Zach Gowen guys? We pulled him from the middle of it, nowhere. Like, we're gonna pick you. You come in here, wrestle me. What was it?
Look, all he's got to do is grab the brass ring, pal. That's what he's got to do.
One of those situations, huh?
All he's got to do. That's all he's got to do.
By the gods.
If not, we'll get a golden shovel and we'll take care of it.
Because it is all about the game and how you play it, after all.
Absolutely, and he's played that game quite well. But I didn't, plus why is OC the best tag team in the world? Their moniker, not mine.
Thank God.
They're taking the loss. Why? You're the best tag team in the world. When Shane McMahon was the best in the world, we couldn't get him to take a loss. It was by hook or by crook. Go ahead, sir.
That's your answer. They're not Shane McMahon.
Sure.
They have egos, but not Shane McMahon egos. It's fine.
Also, their dad isn't the owner.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I forgot. AJ's just a guy from Georgia.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I agree. They shouldn't be taking the loss either, but...
Excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
At the end of the day, at least it was with an RKO. So we got, which was
And
a
then
nice
RKO
little
is
spot.
always sweet. I thought he was going to give it to Ricochet.
Yeah, so
I
that was
marked
a
out for
nice
that.
spot.
I marked out for that.
And then he did that little tease thing where he goes, I do what I want, when I want, where I want, to who I want. And so I was like, yeah, you do, Randy. That's why I don't shake your hand for obvious reasons. If you
Never shake his hand.
Shake
I wouldn't
his
even
hand.
give him a fist boom. I
No,
wouldn't even.
no, none of that.
Not even.
Because he's giving himself a whole lot of boom for my.
I would give Randy Orton one of these, off the
Just-
brim of the
hey,
hat.
Yeah, the old John Cena at the ramp. Time to go to work. You know when he goes, time to go to work.
I hate John Cena so much.
Well,
He does.
We need 3 hours.
Well,
I hate that he
don't.
talks to the cameraman.
Well, I don't. So, so I hope that John Cena comes back real soon because I want to talk about it with you.
This is Loganity after all.
Absolutely. Always remember, you can be a part of it, but this is Loganity. And if you keep talking bad about John Cena, I might have to drop the leg.
Brother, that guy is talking about Cena.
Oh, boy. All right. Now I want to quickly address something in Impact Wrestling. I want to quickly address... That's right. I know. We never talk about it here.
For good reason.
James, if you're watching at home, I'm about to talk about Impact Wrestling. Tessa Blanchard, who is the daughter, of course, of Tully Blanchard, who is managing Spears in AEW, is about to challenge for their world championship against Sami Callihan. And I don't know about all of you, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I know, a little serious moment here at Loganity. But I don't like that. In 2019, I know we're not all women can do whatever the hell they want. I promise you. Women, I love you, especially you, Lana. They can do whatever they want. But anything that is simulating to me man-on-woman violence is a no-go. Unless it's Tina Turner's life story, unless it's for the purpose of telling something that was a part of someone's adversity, I don't care for it, and it just reeks of desperation to me by Impact. Because look, again, a woman can do whatever she damn well pleases. I'm not here to tell her. But I'm not comfortable with anything that simulates, man-on-woman violence, and that's what it's going to be. Either that, or it's going to be a squash match to a woman beating your world champion. And in which case, why was he a world champion? You got any thought on that, Jason? Am I off base here? Am I just stuck behind the times?
I don't think you're 100% off base because it is an uncomfortable thing in 2019. But if Tessa Blanchard wants to do it, who am I to tell her not to? It's kind of that same aspect. Women can do whatever they want. Yes, it's going to simulate man-on-woman violence, but she's been fighting dudes for years now. It's something that she's comfortable with, that she likes to do. Who are we to tell her not to do it?
I'm not telling her specifically. I'm just saying it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Style,
also, I know we got to chime in. I know time is running here, but right quick, men wrestle men, women wrestle women. And the second that we begin to blur those lines and make this thing a thing of like in the 90s, it was such an issue. They hated that, but us men loved it. Like, yeah, put her through a table, Bubba.
Go ahead.
That's amazing. But a woman should not, and this may sound sexist, but this is how I like my wrestling. A woman, I don't care if she was Ric Flair's daughter, a woman should never be WWE World Champion, a World Heavyweight Champion. They have a women's belt for women. They have women tag team belts. Why do the women feel as if it's okay to become like, you know what I mean? You can't be Seth Rollins. We have Becky Lynch for that specific reason. I just don't like it. And also, she would the match.
It just makes me uncomfortable. Knowing,
I agree.
Knowing that what the big issue with domestic violence, anything that simulates that, I'm not in favor of that. I'm not trying to build a barrier for a woman or anything like that. They're as equal as I am. What have you? Do what you want to do. Tessa Blanchard could kick my hind end and not very long. But it's just as a viewer, does that really make a rating point? Does that sell one pay-per-view that people want to? I mean, because again, no matter what, it's a man versus a woman,
right?
And this is pro wrestling, and yes, it's choreographed, it's predetermined, but it's not ballet. And so it makes me uncomfortable. And again, it points to the desperation of Impact. Just what are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. That's a real desperate move on their behalf. Like, you know what I mean? Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not tuning in to watch it. I just don't. I don't know. I don't feel this. I don't like the fact of man-on-woman violence, and there's a problem in this country with that. But I'm not going to take a stand on a wrestling show about it.
I get it. I'm probably taking it too serious. I understand that.
No, I agree with you full through and through. If this was Crown Jewel, by all means, if it's the market, do it.
But it's a matter
Vince is
of,
allowed to do it.
You know, you can get away with it over there.
But again, for me, and I'm not trying. If they're going to put the belt on her, that's fine. I'm not trying to say in sexist terms that they can't be a world champion. It's just that as me as a male, as me as a viewer, seeing man-on-woman violence is quite frankly uncomfortable, and it doesn't make me appeal to your product more. It doesn't. Go ahead. Styles, you got any final comments on that?
No, I have no more final comments, but I know the time is ticking, and my favorite part of the show is coming up, man.
All right. Well, we're going to do it here. We're going to do it quickly. It's
That's what I
time.
told her.
It's time for Rumor Rundown. This is the part of the show where I've selected a list of rumors that I've seen crop up over the last week or so, and you need to tell me if you think it's true, you hit me with the no DQ. If you think it's false, you hit me with the DQ. So first things first, here I'm going to set the scene for you, and I'm going to tell you how I got to these. The Undertaker has been announced for a convention appearance like the night before Survivor Series in Chicago. Survivor Series in Chicago this year. So with that being said, The Undertaker will appear at Survivor Series, DQ or no DQ.
I'm going to no DQ that. Not only did he debut at Survivor Series, but storyline-wise, with all three brands involved, this is probably one of the most important Survivor Series there are. So I think it would do a really big disservice to not have The Undertaker show up. Now, he doesn't have to cost anybody a match, but he could come out afterwards. That'd be totally fine.
Yeah. How about you, Styles? DQ or no DQ?
It is totally DQ. That is false. Undertaker is not a Survivor Series guy, even though that's where he made his debut in Hartford, Connecticut. I know we can get there. But DQ, that's totally false. He's not needed for the pay-per-view.
Hambino, how about you?
I've seen The Undertaker rise from the grave and rise from the dead many, many times in my life. Loganity. He's going to be there. It is definitely no DQ.
You know, I have to go with no DQ if for no other reason than, again, he's scheduled an appearance that's in the same town, and plus, Stone Cold's new podcast with The Undertaker is his first guest. It premieres that night on the WWE Network. It's an easy, cheap pop at Survivor Series. I'm gonna say we see the dead rise at Survivor Series. Okay, let me again set the scene real quick. John Cena, as we talked about earlier, the challenge of Randy Orton. So DQ or no DQ, John Cena will have a match at WrestleMania 36. When I say match, it can be 2 minutes or whatever, but it's ding 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 followed by ding ding ding.
I'm going to no DQ that, and I'm going to call it, it's going to be Adam Cole, baby, that steps across that ring from John Cena at WrestleMania 36.
You know what? I'm feeling that, man. I'm feeling that big time, man. I'm going to go no DQ on this one.
How about you, Hambino? What do you got?
I think he's going to be there. No DQ.
No DQ. I also no DQ it. There's nothing like Big Match John. Sorry, Dwayne. The Rock and Roll Express will wrestle an official match for AEW. Why'd this come up? Because you saw that they did their moment.
Did a Canadian Destroyer. Sweet.
So, no DQ. Give it to me, Jason.
Oh, no DQ all the way. They are so having a match, and it's going to be with the Lucha Brothers, and the Lucha Brothers are going to hide all the weaknesses that the Rock and Roll Express age will show, and it's going to be amazing.
All right, I'm going to no DQ it as well. Styles, how about you?
I'm going to go ahead and say no DQ on this one. We see what they can do in the ring. Even with a little bit of assistance, it still takes a little bit of ability to jump through them ropes that way, bro.
Sure does. It sure does. Hambino, how about you?
I'm going to say false. I think it was just a fun little gimmick, but I don't think they're going to wrestle a full match.
Listen to this guy, gimmick. That's sweet.
Listen at him.
This
And he
guy.
says he's
That's
not a
a
wrestling
wrestling
fan.
friends. Oh, that
Well, I
was
know
not.
who they are, and I feel like if I know who they are, they probably shouldn't be doing something that physically demanding anymore.
So it's been reported that WWE currently has no other dates on the books for Brock Lesnar for a while after Survivor Series. Looks like he's going to take one of those long hiatuses. So with that, DQ or no DQ, Brock Lesnar will lose the WWE Championship at Survivor Series.
Loganity and Twitter, are you ready to explode? Because yes, no DQ. Brock Lesnar will lose to Rey Mysterio at Survivor Series because nobody does a better David versus Goliath story than Rey Mysterio. And who's the best Goliath in the business? Brock Lesnar. And he's not the same guy that lost to Eddie Guerrero 15 years ago.
Styles,
Oh,
take
by
this
the
one.
gods. I am sending this all the way out of bounds. This is a DQ. You know what? They just put the strap on the guy. You see what I did there, wrestling talk? They just put the strap on the guy. You know
Championship,
what?
pal.
You know what? Title. They just put it on the guy, and you know what? It's too quick for them to take it off. Yes, he's Brock Lesnar, but he doesn't deserve to lose that championship so quick. That's a DQ for me.
Hambino, how about you?
I can't stand Brock Lesnar, and I've always loved watching Rey Mysterio fly around that wrestling ring. I'm going to say no DQ. I want to see the luchador, the fly-in, whatever the hell his nickname was, the masked guy.
The masked guy.
The greatest mask of all time.
The greatest mask of all time. I loved watching him growing up.
The mask guy.
I want him to win the title.
Wait, in what world? In what world is Brock Lesnar going to lose to Rey Mysterio? Look, you can pee on the fire calling the dogs. Brock Lesnar gets the W and then he takes a hiatus.
I just want to throw this out there. I know it's, there's a difference between the sports, but UFC, Frank Mir, about half the size of Brock Lesnar, beat him in the match. Just saying.
Hey, he would take Frank Mir to Suplex City, pal. All right.
Friend.
All right. But no, I think Brock keeps the title and then goes on a hiatus like he did for so. He'll be the champion for like 500 days.
Great.
All right, and lastly,
That's so boring.
Lastly, we're going to. Well, look, Loganity's here to entertain you. Vince McMahon doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what I think either. All right, lastly, let's have a little fun here. Excalibur would beat Jimmy Havoc in a shoot fight.
For those who don't know who Excalibur is,
no DQ that because I absolutely love Excalibur and I hate Jimmy Havoc. I'm sorry, I just don't see a place for Jimmy Havoc's type of
he's like a suplex off
wrestling.
a barn type
yeah,
of
he's
guy.
like that guy. He
Like
just
that
got
guy that
suplexed off a barn
suplexes off a barn.
Except
Hey.
this time it's, look, I got a staple gun. What is that?
If you don't know the story, quickly, Excalibur and Jimmy Havoc got in a shoot fight in front of Tony Khan at Jimmy's Seafood in Baltimore. And, I mean, it was a legit fight because they'd been drinking too much, and I guess Jimmy Havoc posted a picture of Excalibur without his mask on his Instagram, and I guess that's enough to be scuffling nowadays. Hambino, you got one on this one.
I have no idea who either of them are, so no.
Good answer. You know what? Good answer.
I'm honest.
Listen, I'm going to just go ahead and weigh in. Excalibur would beat Jimmy Havoc up. There's so many other adjectives that I wanted to put there to describe my feeling, but he would beat him up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Brock Lesnar would Rey Mysterio.
In a shoot fight. Real life shoot.
But this is the carny world of Vince McMahon. Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
What did Cody call him one more time?
A carny succubus, ladies and gentlemen.
and absolutely, I do believe that Excalibur would beat the wrestler that would probably be suplexed off a barn, Jimmy Havoc, in a shoot fight. Because Jimmy Havoc just looks like he hadn't seen the sun, and it's weird.
His parents don't care for him.
But Excalibur, why are you wearing the mask anyway? It's 2019.
I know what I mean. You know what I mean?
2019.
Do we have 30 seconds left? Logan, I know typically we don't do this, but we also have to make sure that we're talking about the Score on Air. The new generation of sports talk is where we're at right here, right now, live.
Absolutely. This has been off the wall, people. So you don't get suplexed off a barn. You tune in here every Tuesday, 4 to 6. Loganity presented by Mojo Sports Gear. Right here, Score on Air. And what is it? What is it now? Give it to me.
Score on Air, the new generation of sports talk.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
Hold on, let's look professional.